Getting the first pick.
Oh, get three, Pyro, get three with the
Blade Kid's putting on a clinic. Whole team's down. Oh!
Tranquility.
Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night here at the Tranquility Community Season 7 playoffs. Folks, we are at the precipice of Discord tier glory. Only 3 teams remain as of tonight, and this match decides who will move on to that second spot in the playoffs finals. The representatives of the returning champions, Quokka Queens, versus 3rd seed Paradise Lost. Will the Marsupial Lord continue their path to reclaim the throne as the queens they are, or will it just be a mirage, and will it be truly lost to them in Paradise? Well, there's only one way to find out. My name's Captain Jack, and I'm your play-by-play for the evening, joined by the feisty Bowsy on analyst tonight, and the producer extraordinaire Booth in the production booth. Now, Bowsy, it has been a little bit since I've been here in the train community. You know, a whole bunch of people flooded in the off season, and there's just no time for Captain Jack here anymore. And I've been kind of all over the place. So for the folks at home that maybe have not been following as closely, and for myself, could you give us a little Cliff Notes version of how these teams have been performing during this season?
I absolutely can, Captain Jack. Both of these teams have really been good all season. Quokka Queens were the number 2 seed in the Aurum division, while Paradise Lost were the number 3 seed in the Indigo division when they were entering the playoffs. Quokka Queens have a 9-1 record in the overall season, playing 10 matches. Paradise Lost a 9-3 record in the overall season. Compared to these two teams against their allies, Quokka Queens was able to take the Reminiscence a 3-2 victory in week number 3. The only time Reminiscence has lost this season Paradise Lost, on the other hand, they got swept by Reminiscence in the knockout bracket, but still were able to make the championship bracket. And last week, they defeated Echo Fleet to meet Quokka Queens, got a bye in the championship bracket.
Yeah, I gotta say that of what I was paying attention to, this is probably one of the Echo Fleet upset is probably one of the most surprising ones that I've seen thus far, but it is not new here in the Tranquility community, especially in the Discord tier, to be seeing teams kind of come out of the blue and really kind of step it up once they get into the playoffs, and especially for a team like Paradise Lost to really make the lower bracket run in the knockout bracket and still make it here, that takes a lot of sustainability. And now in the playoffs, where every match that you play is first to 4, you are in for the long haul. So they got that test last week against Echo Fleet. Now the question is, can they hold up to the strength that is Quokka Queens?
Yes, the first to 4 format makes this championship bracket more of an endurance test. How many maps can you sustain yourself to be able to get yourself to the championship glory? And that's what I love about the first to 4 setup. We didn't see that in the last bracket. Now we see the teams at their hardest doing everything possible to try and bring themselves to glory. We're going to be seeing the series hopefully start off here soon. Our first map chosen by the higher seeded Quokka Queens is going to be Lijiang Tower.
Now, Lijiang Tower has been kind of a popular map. I mean, it's always been a popular map amongst teams, but has been getting a lot more popularity in the higher divisions because of the investment kind of back into these divey-based compositions. You've been seeing a lot more of the traditional dive with the Winston Diva and a lot of Wrecking Ball as of late, really kind of taking the Shanghai Dragons and the Chengdu Hunters strategies by storm in recent events. You know, teams that are really able to lock down those Wrecking Ball compositions, especially on maps like Lijiang Tower, it works out incredibly well for them. Our first map here on Lijiang, we're going to be heading into the night market, and not saying that it would necessarily be a bad thing to run either of those dive compositions, but more than likely we're going to be seeing the Brawl or the double shield with that Symmetra TP.
Most likely, this is a map that really fits that sort of Symmetra's TP style. You TP into the window, it's all pretty simple, but we don't see that coming out of the gate thus far for Quokka Queens, but that obviously could change. We're waiting for the teams to actually come out with their compositions, so we'll see what the compositions are, but most likely we will be seeing some sort of brawl style on this map. Ryan, Diva, Baptiste, and Lucio are pretty much guaranteed, but those DPS can be up in the air in any way you want.
And since it is, because we are doing this on Thursday, we do want to give a quick shout out to the amazing Vix on Quokka Queens. Yesterday was their birthday, so be sure to pop a little happy birthday exclamatory in the chat there for Vix. Why don't you? Let's go ahead and get into it. Quokka Queens not using the teleporter strat, opting for the Sombra over the Symmetra, but that doesn't look to be working out too well for them right now. Paradise Lost, though, are a little lost in the sauce. We're getting a couple of picks to start off, but we are just seeing them dominate this objective right now. Quokka Queens were looking to possibly take this point in their favor, but you know, the Symmetra TP, those turrets, they do so much damage. We're gonna see Paradise Lost lock it down and start that climb.
Yeah, it was a good initiation coming out from Quokka Queens. They got the hack into Azukari and were able to try and push in, but Paradise Lost were just able to stabilize a little bit better with this Zarya, Reaper, and Symmetra. So at the end of the day, Quokka Queens were the ones trying to get as many picks as possible, but unable to get them. And now with Paradise Lost pushing in as front, they want to fight that quickly.
Azukari super aggressive with the rest of Paradise Lost, but will pay for it. The trade is relatively even in Quokka Queen's favor right now, but it looks like they are prepared. Well, they weren't prepared for the window of a rocket, literally letting go of the holster, sending out that amplification matrix. The barrier does come out for Lossish, and they will try to hold the point, but that barrier is not going to be able to lock it down on its own. At the 45% mark, control goes over to the Quokka Queens.
Quokka Queens did a really good job engaging on that. They used Max's wall to their advantage and split off Azukari from the rest of the group. So it was because of that they were able to just push in. Vix went absolutely ham on the Cassie to bring that back, but now Paradise Lost. They have the task of trying to get back into this. They still have this Symmetra online, and they do have 3 ults as well. So we'll see what the move is here for Paradise Lost. Shatter comes out of
Ooh, absolutely baited right there. They thought that they were going to zone them out with that TP, thinking that they were going to teleport back, but they were prepared, and Neo pulling a Matrix-style Blossoms right now grabs the double kill, and despite what they thought was a debate in both directions, Paradise Lost still comes out on top, taking the point at 40%.
From what I gathered, Silent Sword Shatter was actually canceled by Azukari's Shatter, so that was very unfortunate for Quokka Queens, but you do see Paradise Lost. They're still going really aggressive. Azukari right in the front line of Quokka Queens right now.
Arrow with this coalescence is just dominating right now. Probably one, I wouldn't say one of the most powerful ultimates, but one of the ones that you really can't shut down or try to mitigate, except with an immortality field. Navino getting staggered out there, not going to be helpful, and it's going to be taking it to the final fight territory for Quokka Queens to bring this back.
Quokka does have this window in hold if they want to try to push in with that, but they have to try to engage quickly here. The window is used and they try to push in.
Well, let's see if they can make it happen. Navino goes ahead and cleans up Azukari, creating space for them to move in without the Rhine, without that shield. It's going to be a little difficult, but you got the giant barrier of losses trying to hold on to this point, but Madsen on that main, that self-sustain, going to make it really easy for them to continue to hold Azukari back in the fight, trying to dole out some damage as that Shatter online, waiting for the shot. But gets hit with the fire strike in overtime. Team kill rings loud and proud, and Paradise Lost continue to sustain as the Blossom clears the field. 100 to 40%. First point on the board for Paradise Lost.
Silent Sword's not having a good day on the Reinhardt. Both of his shatters were canceled before they were able to get out. The first one was by a shatter, and the second one was by the Reaper of Neo. So good reaction there from Paradise Lost. They were able to bring it to the edge and be able to win on that map. So now they're heading into Control Center, which, mind you, when they played against Reminiscence in the knockout bracket, this was the point that they won on Lijiang Tower, and it was with this composition that they're showing right now. The dive style of Lijiang Control Center was their strong suit in that match, so we'll see if it plays into their favor here now.
This is interesting.
Yes,
I have not seen the double main tank dive on any map, let alone Lijiang Tower, but I gotta tell you, that dive ain't gonna do crap against the Brawl. I'm gonna be completely honest. Madsen with that Symmetra is just gonna be able to beam down anyone in their way, and of course Vix on the traditional Junkrat for this objective as well. We do see Culture on the objective as that Wrecking Ball, trying to see if they can zone out, gets the big slam off, but not going to be able to finalize that elimination. Vix doling out those grenades, getting that damage in, allows Silent Sword to clean up there at the end. We do go ahead and see a little bit of struggle here from the side of Paradise Lost, but the objective has already been given up. Dragon Strike sent in from Neo does find Hypno, but it might not be enough for them to be able to hold on, despite the point going into Quokka's favor. Neo is just hacking the system on this Hanzo and takes the point at 18%.
You do. So the thing about Paradise Lost's comp is they do have dive main tanks, but this comp really plays like a spam composition. Losh and Neo are meant to be spamming out the damage, trying to get as much damage into Quokka as possible and get those big picks off. Azukari and Culture, they're just there to distract the enemy team, and this seems to really work for the most part here for Paradise Lost when they play this composition, at least when they did against Reminiscence a few weeks ago, but we'll see if it's able to work here. As Quokka Queens, they switch over to the Cassidy now to try and deal with this.
Yeah, you gotta deal with that Far Mercy. If you can't lock down the Wrecking Ball and the Winston, being that distraction and constantly going in, and that's not a good way to start things off. With Madsen getting taken out of the fight, another Dragon Strike invested from Neo takes Rocket out of the fight. Now we only got Lucio heals on the objective. The cleanup is fierce. Self-destruct goes high, but everybody is able to get away at the final moments. Hypnotos trying to see if they can take down Neo on their own, but the rest of Paradise Lost comes in to help them out. 60% and climbing right now as Paradise Lost continue to lock down Lijiang control center.
They're using this comp to a really good degree. Neo on this Hanzo has been popping off a lot, apart from what we just saw there trying to hit the shot and Hypnotos. But regardless, you are seeing Quokka Queens now. They have to try and force themselves on the swaps and try and deal with this. Silence were to switch over to the Orisa, and Vix has switched over now to the Hanzo of his own. So we'll see if it's able to make any sort of impact, as 82% here on the board for Paradise Lost. They got a lot of ults to back it up. This might be a win for them.
That's true. We're heading into this last fight. This is their last chance to take the point. Minefield from Culture zones out the amplification matrix, and here comes the barrage. It's a big E from Navino, but will it be enough? No! Azutari coming in, the furious George unleashed here on the objective, and the cleanup is fierce from the rest of the team as overtime ticks away. 100-18. Paradise Lost in a fervor take Lijiang Tower and start off with their best foot forward here in the semifinals.
Absolutely, Paradise Lost showing why they are considered one of the big dark horses in a team you should fear when it comes to this season. They take the first match here up against the Quokka Queens, and really, it was just with their wacky style there on Lijiang Control Center, which, as I mentioned, has worked up against Reminiscence. When they played them a few weeks ago. Now it works up here against the Quokka Queens. They've been feeling confident about that comp since the beginning, and now they are able to flex and show what it's really made of. The Paradise Lost goes up 1-0 in the series, as we're going to be heading to our 2CP map. Now, if you are Quokka Queens, what's your choice here, Jack?
Oh, man. 2CP. Well, I mean, in the community at large, everyone has essentially abandoned 2CP at this point, so it's hard to say. Yeah, but traditionally, if the brawl is my style, and I'm not for certain, again, just due to history, not knowing Quokka's history this season, if they're locked into that, if that's kind of their bread and butter, then I would probably go Hanamura. It's got the tightest choke point. You know, you can sustain pretty well in the objective with Brawl in both Alpha and Bravo objectives. It doesn't really give necessarily a lot for both for the dive to work unless they're able to kind of get past that initial choke point. I mean, they can kind of spam in, and of course the Far Mercy can get past. But other than that, I would say that you know, the other options you have, there's a lot of sky, there's a lot of space. Temple of Anubis, you know, that dive can get in relatively easily. Same thing with Volskaya Industries. So I'd say if Quokka is dedicated to this this rush composition with the Diva, they probably need to lock it down on Hanamura. And speak of the devil, that's exactly where we're going.
Yeah, you were talking so much about Hanamura. Now we're not going to Hanamura. They baited you. You cast your cursor without even getting the game, Jack.
Well, yeah, they had it on Hanamura for like a split second. Okay, I thought I'd be right this time.
Unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. Maybe later in the match. Look, you didn't cast the curse in the first map. We have to fill it with Jack. So
yeah,
you
I know.
Curse in the map choice. So
instead of going to Hanamura, balanced, as all things are.
All things should be. But we Quokka Queens have chosen Volskaya Industries for the assault map. Unless they decide to change it up again and go to Anubis. At this rate, I'm all in for it. Just make us all wrong at this point. But very interesting map choice, because you were talking about how Hanamura would be a good map choice. But now they're going over to Volskaya instead.
Well, I know that this is pretty traditional in the Tranquility community, that teams will come up with a variety of strategies, especially our top four teams, when it comes to the playoffs. I mean, of course, every now and again you have those one-trick teams that make it to the end, but if anyone remembers the the redacted esports marsupial team from last season. They were incredibly diverse, could play just about any composition that you put in front of them and could counter any composition that was in front of them. So if Quokka Queens is looking to continue to hold up that mantle, I would imagine that just the basics of what we saw in Volskaya Industries with that brawl might not be what they're going to be bringing out here. We're going to probably see something a little bit new, maybe kind of a counter dive on Volskaya to try to keep up with Paradise Lost. That was definitely one of the bigger problems you could definitely see on Control Center that they had. Although the Winston and Wrecking Ball were kind of used as distractions, like they were still touching the point. They were still keeping it in their favor. And if you can't stop them, then that feed fest is just going to continue for their team. They're just going to continue to gain percentage. That's not exactly how it works here on Assault, but nevertheless, it can still be a very effective strategy. I like to call it the drive-by strat. You just go by, you do a little slap, 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 and then you run away, and then let the next guy come in, slap, 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 and then you run away. And then you just keep doing that over and over again until everybody's dead.
Yeah, it's definitely a strategy, just wait until everybody's dead and do all that sort of slapping. We don't condone slapping, but whatever. As we head in here into Volskaya, we do... I knew you were gonna make that. Heading into Volskaya, we do see some swaps coming out on the side of Quokka Queen. Silent Sword is been subbed out for Harry Styles, and from what I remember from Quokka Queens, this is usually a style that they like to commit to. Navino, who is one of the all-stars this season, is more of a flex tank than he is an off tank and a main tank. So he can flex over to the main tank position if need be. So they'll usually swap out Silent Sword and Harry Styles to make sure that they can put Navino on the main tank or off tank, depending on the map situation. As of right now, in the defense, you see Navino on the Orisa. Obviously, Harry Styles and off tank. Silent Sword not really as good as Orisa, so they decided to put Navino in here on the main tank role. We do see, once again, this double main tank style coming out, unless Lars is just going to be scouting out here on the Sombra. But that is the style we're going to be seeing for Paradise Lost, as it looks like they're going to be committing to this. Lars probably going to switch over to a Pharah here in a few seconds. Nope, switching over to the Genji. Shimada Brothers composition.
Yeah, Losh with that scouting is always super effective, especially here on Volskaya, because it just gives you that, it takes a little bit of extra time, but you make sure you come out with the right composition the first time around. Coulter falling incredibly low. Azukari soon to follow, but gonna go ahead and get healed up. They're gonna be able to waste a little bit of time. Now, I like the defense right here. Typically, you might see like a Torbjorn come out, just to provide that little additional damage on the field. But I like Vix opting for that Soldier 76. They were prepared for that Bar Mercy to come out, and Culture with the initial picks onto Rocket and Madsen are not going to be a way to be able to hold this objective. Massive anti-nade comes in for Mageddon, and that is going to be it. Team kill rings loud, and with the patience of 1,000 Saints, Objective Alpha is captured.
Really fast engage there from Paradise Lost, taking as much time as possible, waiting for the perfect opportunity, and then they just stabbed the sword straight through the meat and went right for the heart. And really good push in from Paradise Lost. They did use that Dragon Strike late, which might have either been a zoning to get rid of all the dead bodies, or it was just a misclick. Regardless, Paradise Lost, they do get the first point, and now with 5 minutes and 20 seconds in the bank, they're looking at point B, ready to get a good time there. Trying to get out of it quickly. They already have it.
That's true. Nice pull there onto Azukari from Navino. Gonna keep that nanoed monkey off of your backs and use the Amp Matrix to try to mitigate some of that power that nano had given them. The initial picks right now for Madsen and Navino are really paying off. Harry Styles even coming in with the mini Diva Fist, as we know here in Trank, is the deadliest of all Diva forms. They will continue to hold as they shave a little bit of time off that bank.
funny, Mini Diva Fist is probably the most deadly thing on the experimental card, but we're not doing that 100 damage with Diva Melee right now. But regardless of which, Quokka Queens, they're able to stabilize. They did only use one ult in that fight, which was the window of rockets, and they were able to stabilize up against Paradise Lost. So good job for them. They're starting to mitigate this time bank a little bit, but oh, they're going to mitigate even more. Good halt and shot there from Matson and Navino, making the time bank a little bit more relaxed here. But now Paradise Lost, they get the reds off.
Very interesting use of the minefield there. Of course, with the new adjustment as of recent, that all the mines essentially will fall, even if they're on the roof or whatnot. I still say that it's relatively interesting how that spread happened. Ira coming in, you know, you let the Genji do all the work, and then, you know, you take the little hit at the end to say that, no, it was really me, really, at the end. First tick, second tick on the objective with 3:40 on the clock. Anybody's got to touch this point as the pulse bomb comes in. Neo is down. The Matrix calls him back as we see Matson getting some picks. Navino swapping over to the Winston to be able to mitigate and kind of control the space a little bit better. But those legs really getting their workout right now as they clean up the point. Take us down to about 3 minutes, but there's only one tick remaining.
That pulse bomb from Vix was chef's kiss. Absolutely amazing coming out from Vix on the side of Quokka Queens. And now Quokka continue to stabilize. Wholesale swaps coming out the DPS line here for Paradise Lost. Now they're running the Tracer Soldier as well, so we'll see what the plan of attack is here for Paradise Lost. They don't have a lot of ults in the bank, but they still could make some advantage of this next fight. So we'll see what the move is here from both teams and which team's going to be able to come out on top. 2 ticks taken from Paradise Lost in that fight, however, so they have not too much left in order to get the full cap on this map.
That's true. I think the unfortunate part is that they could have used the blade, but I think they're having a little bit of an issue just closing the distance right now for where Quokka Queens is set up, you know, on that back high ground. We do see the ult used early, so Azukari is going to get that full value of the nano this time around. Gonna have to pull out early. Minefield on the objective once again for Culture. Pins Harry Styles in the corner. That baby diva trying to hold on for dear life and trying not to get D-Max right there. But we will see Neo now on the Tracer, just doling out damage in the back line, trying to hold on. But that 150 health doesn't do them any favors. Losh gonna be able to get the trade though onto the mini Harry Styles. Navino falling incredibly low. Perfect timing on that shield to be able to sustain. We won't see everybody go down, but a quick regroup from the side of Paradise Lost.
Yep, just taking a soft regroup here, waiting for the rest of the team, and that was a very quick and very efficient disengage considering they were getting pelted on by all sides from Quokka Queens. So good job on Paradise Lost to do that. Now 1 minute and 20 seconds in the time bank. Azukari switching over to the Orisa. Interesting move. I think he did have Primal Rage up where he was very close to getting it. So this is a very interesting swap. A lot of interesting swaps actually coming out from Paradise Lost throughout this entire map. But now they only have 1 minute to try and make this engage. All they have is the mines, the pulse bomb, and the tactical visor. All fight-winning ults, but they have to use them perfectly, or else this team won't be able to get a full cap.
That's true. Well, it's all about closing the gap, and they're having such a hard time. Harry Styles, hungry right now, finds Neo's pulse bomb, and the minefield litters the objective once again for Culture. So close. Matson not able to land the Helix rockets onto Ira as they continue to zone out the point. Gets him the second time, though. Gonna be able to continue to hold, and comes in with the butt of the pulse rifle to keep it together for the rest of the team. 30 seconds remain on the clock. Final fight territory for Paradise Lost to get that last tick, and nothing in the bank.
I didn't know Soldier 76 was capable of RKOing a horse like that, but you learn something new every day. But now you see Paradise Lost are in desperation mode. Culture switching over to the Sigma here, and they really have no ult apart from Ira's Valkyrie coming into this next fight. So we'll see what the plan of attack is from Paradise Lost. If they're even able to touch 5 seconds on the clock now, will they be able to make it?
That's true, and they got to watch out for Matson. They've been absolutely fluid on that Soldier 76, despite all the shields that we've been seeing. Vix has the pulse bomb online, is looking to stick it when they possibly can as they go ahead and move their way in. There it is, right on Ridge McGinnon, hunting them down like a lion searching for its prey. The point is continuing to be contested, but the tide is turning in favor of Paradise Lost. Harry Styles out of mech, gets deleted by a loss. The accretion comes out. Neo's able to lock down Vix. The overtime bank burning a down right now, but it's not going to be enough for them to hold. Navino and Metzen get melted by Neo. The Matrix comes out once again to lock down Objective Bravo with no time in the bank at very least. They give themselves a second shot of defending Point Alpha, but with the way that Quokka defended, the question is, can they attack just as furiously?
Yeah, it was really clutch plays coming out there from Losh and Neo. Again on the DPS line for Paradise Lost to bring that into their favor. Really good plays from every team, but it was those two players that helped Paradise Lost get those final ticks. Losh was popping up in the kill feed a lot, so great job there to be able to secure that second point. Now they have guaranteed at least at going to overtime rounds if Quokka Queens get their second point. So we'll see what the plan of attack here is. They're going to be going again for the Fall Orisa here on the defense with a Torbjorn Ash DPS line. So obviously going for a lot of damage and also having that flank prevention potential here with Neo on that Torbjorn. So we'll see if it plays into their favor. I doubt we see Quokka Queens on this Ryan Winston composition. This isn't the experimental card, guys. So we'll see what the move is. I mean, it works.
Bulldozer is still a composition that, if used correctly, can work. I mean, it doesn't work when you don't have a Lucio, though. Not necessarily to experimentally drop the beat and give everyone tinnitus, but definitely to be able to push people out. Not exactly for certain. Oh, Mattson's doing some scouting there. Gonna get back to the rest of the team. They got plenty of time to make it work. Going for the rush with the Symmetra. Interesting. I think the goal is to try to close the gap on the high ground, and even Vix, initially coming out on the Cassidy, is going to swap over to the May. So it's CC for days.
Yeah, well, their plan is to just try to get up onto this top hut, or at least onto a high ground so they can get over onto the point as quickly as possible. They're going to be going over to this top left high ground, but it's already destroyed. So good move there from Paradise Lost to identify that the Symmetra was there and immediately make the move. So you just dive in, remove the TP. TP, how about Tino? So we will be seeing now Paradise Lost move over to the left side high ground as you see Quokka Queens.
Well, the question is, will they be able to take it down the second time? It's not going to work the second time around. They're able to get through the TP of Vix using that cryo weapon to try to take down Neo with the freeze. Going to be successful for now as they go ahead and clean up the rest of Paradise Lost. We are going to see Ridge Mageddon go ahead and pull back. Culture already has the minefield online, but the mines will not hold the objective in the favor of Paradise Lost. Harry Styles on this point continuing to zone out Ridge Mageddon, but there are no finalizations on that elimination. Keeping that healer in the fight is going to make it a lot easier. Wait, what? Just bowled over right there. It looks like the timing of that immortality field just did not get activated in time to save them. And they're going to go ahead and still get Objective Alpha. A little less time in the bank, but there is all of Paradise Lost already out here in the middle of the objective. Literally, Quokka Queens taking Objective Bravo. They clean them right on up with that teleporter, and they're going to rush on in to see if they can make the clean sweep.
Losh got long spawn as well, so that means Quokka Queens are in the advantage right now in this fight. They will be getting the first pick, and now Paradise Lost, they're in desperation to try and hold it.
Beat, Blizzard, kitchen sinks abound for both teams, and it's not enough for Paradise Lost to be able to hold right now. We do see the contest continuing to come in. Bob invested and immediately melted down, and Quokka Queens show that, okay, you know what? Control was just our warm-up, all right? We don't do warm-ups in the playoffs because it's a long night. You know, we don't want to get tired out early. This is how we really gonna do things. 4:19 on the clock, and Paradise Lost only have one tick to hold on to for Objective Alpha.
Very rough for Paradise Lost now that I have to hold on to tech, but really, really good engage from Quokka Queens. They were patient with that teleporter and they used it just at the right time and were able to come out with these weird teleporter shenanigans that Matson used. It was pandemonium throughout the entire time, but regardless, Quokka Queens get the job done, and now they have 4 minutes and 19 seconds to take one tick of point A, 33.3%. Paradise Lost, on the other hand, they have to defend for that amount, and considering how kind of rough the defense was once Quokka Queens got into their face, it seems questionable why they're running this dive defense again.
That is true. I mean, it didn't work out so well the first time, but it seems like they're more dedicated to the dive that worked for them on the attack. I think the issue with it is, and I always see this issue with dive on assault, is that there's no sustain on the objective. You know, you have to be on the point to be able to contest, or you have to get the picks before they come in. So I imagine that Paradise Lost is really dedicating and hoping that they are able to get those picks long before Quokka Queens touch the objective. But you have to do that at bare minimum 4 times, with ultimates being built up throughout the entire fight.
Shout out to Vix switching to like 10 different heroes while they were waiting for the scout to be out of match.
Bait and bait and bait and bait and bait.
Yeah, pretty much. Just bait it out, baby.
Ooh, Matson falls incredibly low. Almost got bowled over by Culture, along with the rest of the team. We see slow, timid, patient rotation from Quokka Queens. They know they got time. They just want to make sure that they don't lose anybody in the transition. They're going to take control of the Mega Health Pack room so that they can go ahead and have that extra little bit of support and sustain. Stuns for days coming out right now, but somehow Culture still gets away. Navino does get taken down by Azukari to start things off, and without the Rhine to be able to keep your team alive, keep that shield up in front of everyone, it's going to be very difficult, especially with Losh on this far, doling out a intense amount of damage into this side room.
Losh's Farah has really proven thus far to be absolutely monsters. And 2 kills in full support. That's the big nail in the coffin that Paradise Lost wanted to settle right then and there. And man, good job from Losh's Farah. You know, it's not very often to see Farah, especially in Discord tier, which is much higher than Harmony's tier, where Farah is usually utilized a lot. But Losh making it work to Paradise Lost's advantage. They play really well around Losh's Farah, and with that, you do see Quokka Queens now having to recuperate, bring themselves back together, and already 2 minutes off of that 4-minute time bank already burned off the clock.
Yeah, the unfortunate part about that, it seemed like they were trying to figure out whether or not they wanted to wait and rotate back for Navino, but ideally what they should have done is just gone for the quick reset, go back with Navino, work it in once again, because now all those picks that came in for Losh have created this barrage that is ready to be unleashed. I hope Harry is hungry, because there's a lot of rockets getting ready to come out, and that EMP is fierce!
Yes, giant EMP.
Coming in, we see gets Matson at very least, and the cleanup comes in for the remainder. Navino is able to pick up Azukari, but Ira brings him right back into the fight, has the Valkyrie online to utilize in their favor as we head into what could be the second to last fight on this point. We are looking at possibly a draw Skya here if something doesn't switch quickly for the Quokka Queens.
The only good thing for Quokka Queens is that fight, Paradise Lost used their 2 biggest ultimates, the Barrage, the EMP. So those are off the table until probably the middle of this next fight. But the bad news is 50% for both of those already, and Losh is already still ticking it up, now up to 60%. So Quokka Queens, if they want to win this fight and win this map, they have to engage really quickly, and that's a big pick from Matson.
Big pick from Matson, but the res comes in and makes it null and avoid with this minefield from Culture. The speed boost, I don't believe, was online. They used it to try to rotate, and they couldn't fully rotate it through with 30 seconds remaining on the clock. Still quite a few ultimates in the pocket of Quokka Queens. The investment has to happen now, and they gotta hope that they can get them out before this EMP barrage again.
The ults that they have are also kind of weird. The Shatter, the Blossom, the Bomb, and the Beat. So we'll see if it's able to make any sort of impact here. Quokka Queen, the Shatter, however, it's big.
There it is. Madsen's able to find Ridge Mageddon. A lot of heals off the point. Not going to be able to use that Nano. The EMP doesn't find its targets. There it is. The cleanup is here. Quokka Queens just baiting it out at this point. Harry Styles chasing down Lodge, investing the bomb to be able to clear the objective of anything that is Paradise Lost. They are not out of this fight in any sort of means as they take it to the wire here on Volskaya Industries to test up the series 1-1.
Quokka Queens once again paying off with patience. They waited the entire 4 minutes, built up the ults they needed, and were able to make it count when it mattered the most. That Shatter cut connecting onto Culture and Rickmadon was the nail in the coffin for Paradise Lost, and unfortunately, it meant that they would lose that map in the end. But Quokka Queens now bring it back after going 0-2 on Lijiang Tower. They bring it in overtime rounds on Volskaya Industries, and now force Paradise Lost into a situation where they have to pick the next map.
That's true, but there are a lot of good options for Hybrid, though, and they can avoid the biggest option that would work well for the side of Quokka Queens, and that's King's Row. Unless they feel that possibly their Brawl or their Rush can match up with the patience and the focus fire that we have seen from Quokka Queens. I don't see that happening. If they want to continue to run kind of this dive-ish composition that's been working out with them so well, I feel that moving to a map like Dorado or Blizzard World is probably going to be their best bet, but it really kind of depends on Paradise Lost here. Do you keep trying to make work what worked on Control, but didn't really help you out on Volskaya Industries? Or, again, is it one of those Trank secrets? You got something in the back pocket, and now it's time to start letting it out.
Yeah, we will definitely have to see what the plan is here from Paradise Lost as we're trying to choose their map. Again, free control maps, Blizzard World, King's Row, and I don't remember the last one. I'm pretty sure it was Eichenwald, what I remember. It is Eichenwald, then I'm
I was about to say, I think in the playoffs it's completely open to all maps. So Blizzard World, Eichenwald, King's Row. I am wrong, apparently. I guess we changed that this season, or I don't pay attention. It definitely could be the latter.
I mean, you've had other things that you've had to take business of.
No, that's not necessarily that, but definitely just kind of. I could have swore that we just left it open to make it a little bit more entertaining, you know, because it gives so many options, especially when you're in a best of 7 situation, right? Like, you could be playing out upwards of, you know, with draws included, it could go all the way to 10 maps. So typically, you know, we've never seen that, you know, Gizmo being the receiver of many of those map 8, map 9s in the history of Tranquility. But yeah, so Eichenwald, Blizzard World, and King's Row. Well, I wasn't thinking about Eichenwald, but first 2 points still good. That choke, probably not as good, though, if they were trying to work that dive composition in. So if I were to hedge my bets, I would say Paradise Lost is indeed looking a little festive. They want to head in onto Blizzard World for our next match.
Yeah, they are actually choosing to go to Blizzard World for our next map. And you say festive, but King's World has a winter map as well. So.
Oh, I didn't even. I was thinking more festive as just going to the theme park.
Okay,
than anything.
That's fair. I mean, going to a theme park is pretty festive. You know, it's fun, it's amazing. So we'll see all that sort of stuff coming out here on Blizzard World. Again, we have swaps coming out from the side of Quokka Queen, Silent Sword coming back in. So obviously they want to play the style that they had with Silent Sword before. But now Rocket is being subbed out for Monarch here on the support role. So different supports might mean different compositions. They might run different sort of things as we're heading into Blizzard World here. So we'll see what the plan is here from the Quokka Queens. It's Blizzard World. It's a beautiful theme park. It doesn't exist in real life, but hey, I'll take it any day of the life. Just send me to a theme park already.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you. You know, the last couple of years have been a little rough, but getting kind of a taste of the experience outside of my home, you know, getting to attend my first LAN recently, and you know, trying to remember what it's like being outside the house. I am jonesing for getting to a Six Flags, or in the Northeast we have the Big E, a massive theme park and celebration that goes on during the fall season. I'm ready to get back into that and have a good time. But we're not going to be seeing any good times had here on Blizzard World. It's all mayhem and destruction in the Overwatch scene on this theme park. Honestly, I don't know how they make their cover. The tickets must be incredibly expensive to replace all the damage. But nevertheless, we will be seeing very interesting defense coming out for the side of Quokka Queens.
Running the double hit scan with the Soldier Ash, and I mean, it makes sense if you do see Paradise Lost coming out here with Losh on the Thara. This has been pretty much Paradise Lost's bread and butter throughout most of these maps. They're running this sort of double main tank style, Hanzo Thara and Ana Mercy. But now we see them switching off of it. Losh switching over to an Ash of his own. So different style coming out here from Paradise Lost, and we'll see if the adaptation is there from Quokka Queens on this setup. So we'll see what the move is here, as the dive most likely will be coming in here in the next few seconds.
That's true. Coulter set up, ready. Oh, wow! Hypnotoss D9 shutting the front door immediately onto Coulter, and Azukari gets melted down. The Helix rockets with the nail in the coffin, but Madsen falls as well to the logs of Neo. So it is tied up right now. I see a lot of bodies getting close to elimination. Immortality invested as that massive anti-nade continues to sustain the team. Immortality wears out. Azukari cleans it up, takes two. Culture getting themselves in on the action as well, and Navino has to invest to try to keep this point in their favor. Minute and a half off the clock ain't bad on first point Blizzard World, but Objective Alpha's captured. Paradise Lost takes it to the streets.
Neo's Hanzo playing a large factor in that match, being able to use the Dragon Strike, and Culture being able to clean up all the remaining picks on that ball. Really brought Paradise Lost into motion there and brought them that first point, so they will be getting the cart moving in. Neo's still not done. He's getting picked even in the stagger here for Quokka Queens, but we will see. Maybe there's a backup coming up here. Never mind. Paradise Lost just want to keep pushing. You know what they say, if you're holding S, you're losing.
Well, see, the backup was sending in Bob to go ahead and take care of it. That's where the backup came in. They are going to retreat back to the objective, get that payload moving a little bit faster, and then go ahead and get repositioned on that high ground. They still have over 4 minutes on the clock. Let's see if they can turn this or keep this card moving.
4 minutes on the clock, waiting for the engage here, and once again, Neo finds the support first. That's massive coming out from the Hanzo player on the side of Paradise Lost. This man just can't be stopped. He's just completely dominating the side of Quokka Queens, and he still has the Dragon available if he wants to just make it worse. So we'll see what the move is here. We do still see Quokka Queens waiting for the push. Ooh, Culture burning down very low. That could have been disastrous here for Paradise Lost, but Azukari with the Nano being able to push in early.
Yeah, the logs, though, coming out from Neo are only supplemented by everyone else. Ultimates abound on the side of Paradise Lost as we continue to see that card being pushed in. Madsen able to find it with the Peacekeeper, gets the pick onto Neo, but the minefield really zoning out the choke to the objective. Bob now invested in the fight, looking to push it the rest of the way in as we go ahead and see Monarch swoop down onto the low ground so that Bob can get the cleanup that robotic Butler deserves. Silent Sword is last to sustain on the objective and will get taken down, shaving the time bank once again to 4:30 on the clock. But we're heading into the castle. Not a lot of room to move around for the dive, but plenty of high ground for Neo to take advantage.
I can cross off 3 final blows on Bob on my beta card for Tranquility playoffs, but still, the push coming out here from Paradise Lost has been really good. They are swapping up their support line, however. They're switching over to the map and we'll see if that makes any sort of impact as they enter point 3 here. We do see them backing up a bit with that Deadeye from Madsen, so looks like they're just waiting for the perfect opportunity to push, and Neo does have this Dragon Strike available, and that's going to be the engagement.
Yeah, we do see the rotation onto the double shield composition as well, which is really going to be helping them out. We do see the recall used as kind of a bait to try to call out the immortality field early, but will not be successful. Pulse Bomb doesn't find the value. It's looking for self-destruct invested from Navino to try to be able to get back into mech relatively quickly. And we will see Quokka Queens continuing to sustain for now. The reset comes in for Paradise Lost. The fight is still not over, though. Culture and the rest of the team still pushing in, just trying to continue that sustained pressure as the rest of the team kind of regroups with them. The spawn doors are indeed right there. And Vince, you gotta check your corners right there, fam. You gotta be watching that other door. And Neo's just taking a break, Uh-oh. This is never a good sign. Pause on the field usually means, well, it doesn't look like it's a DC yet. Requested pause from the side of Quokka Queens. So we'll see kind of how that ends up working out here, Bowsy. But based on what I see on the field, you gotta hope that at very least Monarch is not losing their life here and being DC'd from the match, because if they do, the only ultimate they currently have online, which is the Ant Matrix, is gone with the wind.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see which one will get disconnected. If I had to guess, it's either Hypnotoss or Madsen, because Madsen obviously was a little bit off, and Hypnotoss was the first casualty in that fight. They ended up going a little bit too over-aggressive, and I was very questioning as to why a Brigitte would be going over-aggressive into a double shield composition. We'll see what happens here. Most likely it might just be internet issues. I don't think it will be a disconnect. I mean, if you're talking about maybe that's might be stuck in the
I mean, some people still believe that Brig is still the prime candidate for if you just want to go in and wreck faces, you just pick Brig. So
I could definitely see that. So we're just waiting to see what the cause of action here. I mean, it was called by the side of Quokka Queens, so most likely it was one of them that had the issue. Probably not Monarch. I hope it's Monarch. Because yes, this kill from Neo is big on the Monarch, but we'll hopefully see if it's anybody but Monarch. But yeah, really good showing there from Paradise Lost, being able to take advantage, and Neo once again showing that his Hanzo is not to be reckoned with. Really, it's kind of been the story all game thus far for Neo's Hanzo. Just been able to take advantage when necessary, and it's been really causing problems for Quokka Queens.
That is true. It looks like we do have at least one person leaving the lobby, not an active player right now, Magic Turtle. That is possible. Anyone that's in the lobby can technically activate the DC. We see that with our production all the time. So we'll see what happens. But I have been practicing something, since we're kind of shaving time here. So. Hey, how's it going there, Tranquility community? How you doing? This is Captain Jack. Just want to remind you that if you want to support this amazing organization and all the amazing stuff we do, be sure to hit that heart, punch that bell. Let us know how much you absolutely love us. And be sure to hit that sub button if you can. $4.99 or Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime sub gives you access to amazing emotes and supports our community. And it looks like we're back into it.
Good. Yeah, well now we will be seeing Quokka trying to make this classic game, but that's an early dragon coming out from Neo, and it already has gotten him.
Yeah, but we do see the trade with Madsen, but that Ant Matrix is going to make it incredibly difficult. The Bongo's now invested as well. I'm not for certain who's on the objective that's keeping it in their favor right now. Vix was able to get past all of that damage just to be able to touch the point, but it was very much for naught. The 1v6 Vix, I know it was your birthday yesterday, but the present will not be pulling off a 1v6 to stop Paradise Lost on Objective Charlie. I just cannot deliver that for you in the script. 2 minutes and 20 seconds on the clock as we go ahead and see Paradise Lost take to the defense and see if Quokka Queens can go ahead and close up that, or wouldn't close up that time bank, but maybe see if they can create a gap in that time bank difference.
Yeah, we'll definitely see what the move is here from Quokka Queens to try and bring down that time bank to 2 minutes exact, or at least try to get a better time bank than that on their attack. But really a good showing here from Paradise Lost on the attack. They're able to make use of the resources that they need. They're able to make use of all the hero picks that they bring out, and in the end of the day, they're just doing a really good job in the DPS market right now. You do see now Quokka Queens, they're running out here with, or we see Paradise Lost on the defense. They're running once again with this Ash Torb style that we saw them run on Volskaya before, so interesting composition. This is mainly meant to remove dive targets, but what happens if Quokka Queen doesn't run any dive targets and instead runs a double sniper composition with a Widow Ash Jack?
I mean, ideally, they'll essentially pull off similar to what we saw Paradise Lost do on their attack. It's just going to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more passive. Vix goes for the initial hook shot, looking to see if they can get anything out of it. And I didn't see them sticking on that Widow for any amount of time anyway. Gonna swap on over to the Hanzo. They were like, Neo's throwing logs. I like logs. Let's see if I can throw some of those myself. We'll see the rotation coming in. Looking to see if they can take Paradise Lost off that high ground will be successful. So now everyone is on an even playing field. Double shield for both sides. Navino, though, falling incredibly low, having to get a lot of the resources out. Accretion finds Neo, but sitting very comfortably behind shields. We see the sandwich of Orisa barriers going on right there as the turret goes down. Monarch having to invest the immortality field, but quickly gets deleted. Losh in the back line already has the bomb on the line and sends him in deep. Takes down Monarch and is just creating a ruckus. A double dynamite kill traded on both Ashes for this objective. It is just a lone Ira and the Torb turret of Neo trying to defend, and I don't think it's going to be enough to hold at least for a tick or two.
Roses are red, violets are blue. Lost in your backline, and he's killing you. So it's just been pretty much the story of his entire match. The DPS of Paradise Lost has been in the backline and just been killing, but still, Paradise Lost are in a losing situation right now. The Quokka Queens are running back, and now they're starting to kill Paradise Lost. My calling the lie all of a sudden.
Vix just the beautiful shot. See, you gotta watch out when you give any Hanzo room to work. You think that using the coach gun makes it easier for you, but really, I mean, the logs are gonna hit where the logs are gonna hit, and with the same time bank that we saw for the side of Paradise Lost, we're now gonna see Quokka Queens take to the street, and a very different tank line coming in for Paradise Lost.
Yeah, Paradise Lost, they have a little bit to defend here. They do have the Molten Core whenever they want to try to defend the card directly, but luckily you have the ult advantage here. The Molten Core will be invested early, but already a massive victory.
There we go. Gravitic Flux comes in, grabs Culture when they come out with the slam, and just deletes the tank extraordinaire. Not going to be dealing with that pesky hamster anytime soon, or at very least for the next 10 seconds. Just have Azukari on this monkey, but doesn't have the same kind of engage or ruckus we will see from Culture. We do see the Dragon Strike utilized early to see if they can zone out the high ground just to make sure nobody's there, but we will see that Dynamite just popping out quite a bit of damage. Bob invested once again from Lost. The res comes in, but Ira meets the end of the Bowman's bow. Quokka Queens continuing to furiously move their way into this objective as nothing seems to be stopping them.
Quokka Queens continued the momentum from capping that first point. Now 4 minutes and 30 seconds in the time bank, entering point C. They are looking really clean right now. So much so that Losh has switched off of the Ashe and onto a Tracer. Neo's now on an Echo. No longer are we going to be seeing that Neo Hanzo that has been really dominant all this match. Instead, now he's switching over to the Genji, not an Echo anymore. They obviously, Paradise Lost are trying to come up with answers on how to deal with this attack here from Quokka Queens.
Yeah, I mean, ideally the Echo probably would have been the better pick, but Madsen has also swapped over to the McCree, so that's going to make it a little bit more difficult, so definitely more ideal to go for the deflecting robotic ninja than the very squishy robotic mastermind. Azukari is going to go ahead and utilize that Primal Rage. Go ahead, send Monarch over the side, a little house your father, a slap and a clap. Sends them back to spawn, but honestly, the spawn door's right there. They're going to be back relatively quickly. Not going to shave a lot of time off that bank.
Yeah, definitely. That Primal Rage was able to give Paradise Lost their first fight win pretty much since the beginning of the attack for Quokka Queens. So we'll see what the move is here for Quokka Queens now that they have to actually push in. They will have this Dragon Strike online, so we'll see what the move is here from Vix. He's going to use this, where he's going to use it, how effective it's going to be. As already Paradise Lost, they're holding really quick, really close up, but it's already cost them.
That's true. We do see the res come in, though. Everybody turns their back onto Culture, and Ira, she just goes right on in and cleans it right up. But Vix is still staying alive. We are seeing some BG's redemption there, but it ends at the end of Azukari's Tesla cannon. They clean up that side area, and the time bank's getting furiously close to that of Paradise Lost.
I do feel like that Paradise Lost did panic a little bit with their support ults. Ira did use the Valkyrie, which was a good move, but Rigmadon used the Nano Boost onto Culture. Whether that was to keep the ball alive or to just, like, panic just in case that he died is all of the equation. But still, that Nano Boost is on, and already Azukari is dead because of it.
That is true. Neo's coming out with the blade as well, but the bare naked blade wasn't enough to take down Madsen. The Cowboy continues to hold strong, but wow! Massive anti-nade and minefield clear the objective. It's like, okay, well, you can have those two, but we don't need them this time around. We have a different plan in mind. That's going to be another clear of the cart. Under 2 minutes now for the side of Quokka Queens as they look to finish pushing this cart.
Who needs a blade when you could just have a giant anti-nade from Rigmadon able to eliminate everybody on the side of Quokka Queens? Good play there from Rigmadon. And once again, I don't get a lot of time to talk because the fight's already engaged. This run invested early in the pulse bomb elimination.
That is true. Quokka Queens now coming out. We have these ultimates online. The Primal Rage invested once again to try to see if they can hold everything together. And it is just a beautiful cleanup. You know, it's what we've been seeing from Quokka. It's very studied. It's very patient. They don't get freaked out when they see the dive come in. They just kind of take care. They target call. You know, maybe they were having a couple issues there at the beginning, but the Dragon Strike coming out to zone. They're looking to push it in. A minute under on the clock. Navino's the only one that ends up getting hit with the anti-nade, and Vix will fall in the end. But Madsen is coming out on the Cowboy Crusader right here, getting pop after pop, but this minefield is here to zone, and Hypnotoss is there to send everyone into a tizzy. The D-Mech comes in with the hold. Monarch takes Azukari out of the fight, and the Nano gets invested onto Neo, who just gets deleted in the sky onto the Doomfist. There is a fight for the finish right here, and Quokka Queens really gotta lock this down. They gotta push it in with time in the bank, or they're gonna have nothing. They're not gonna have a second shot to be able to get it down. 10 seconds remaining on the clock. Hypnotoss coming out the rally to try to sustain the team. The staggers, they just keep coming in. They gotta get it in.
Whoa, they got him in a second.
They get it in right as overtime ticks over, and it's just enough to fool the system. You're not going to be taking away that second chance for the Quokka Queens. They're going to be able to get a second attack in as we head back for round 3.
That was either a second or 0.1 seconds in the clock for Quokka Queens, capping out the final point. That could be the game decider, the map decider, if Quokka Queens are able to pull off an effective attack and a even miracle defense. But great job there from Quokka Queens to be able to sustain the stall, bring it all together, get it when it matters the most, and get that final attack, get that second chance at an attack. Wonderful, wonderful job from Quokka Queens. But now Paradise Lost, they were unable to hold it to the very end. Now they have a challenge. They need to try and hold off 1 minute here for Quokka Queens, or else they're looking at going down when we go into the halftime.
That's absolutely true. It's really kind of down to the wire right now, a real nail biter. So be popping off in the chat. It's halftime after this. Who do you want to see go into halftime with the victory? Are you a Quokka Queen stan or a Paradise Lost fan, or are you just a harbinger of chaos? And do you want to see a draw on Blizzard World? I know you're out there, NPC. All right, I know that you're asking for it. I know you want the long haul, but with only a minute on the clock, and as well as the defense went initially for Quokka Queens, all of that is a possibility.
Not a good pick to start off at all.
No, that's not a good way to get things started. The fight essentially ends before it even begins, as Losh just cleans it up. Perfectly timed rockets there. Vix gonna be the last one to fall as they get staggered out. It's desperation mode already because there's only 15 seconds.
You already see Madsen switching over to the Sombra, trying to get over to the point in a sneakiest way possible. Make sure that nobody notices on the side of Paradise Lost and get that first touch in. We already see a lot of pulses. Once Madsen gets found out, we'll be able to get that touch, but not for long. He's gonna fall in.
Yeah, that's not good, and I'm not for certain why Vic swapped over to the Widow. Very interesting choice. You'd think you'd want everything that you can to be able to touch that objective and keep the overtime bank clicking in your favor. The anti-nade comes out. Barrage onto the amplification Matrix Dragons just to put the nail in the coffin, and not a tick to be had for the side of Quokka Queens in a 3-minute, 25-second hold on the clock. And it is still drawable territory.
Don't mention it's drawable territory, because it could very well happen right now. It very well could happen.
It's on the table. I got to put out everything that is a possibility. And although, you know, the Tranquility Meme Lord NPC is constantly going to be in the chat, I already know it without even looking, asking for those map 8s, map 9s, map 10s. It's a possibility here. We could at very least get a map 8 out of this situation if we see Quokka Queens hold the line. We are going to see the comp that they've pretty much been using this entire time. Madsen on the Ashe and Vix on that Hanzo. A little bit interesting that we're not seeing the Torb, you know, that little extra bit of damage, a little extra bit of sustain, a little extra help with Neo, who is looking to lock in the Sombra this time around. And there is plenty of time for Paradise Lost, similar to how Volskaya Industries went, to give time to Paradise Lost to earn their ultimates.
See what the move is here. Paradise Lost, they're going to be running this Sombra Pharah. No more Hanzo from Neo, but we will still see Wash's Pharah, so we'll see if it plays into their favor. Obviously, the Sombra here to just make sure that they're able to get as much value as possible. Probably hack the Diva or the Baptiste or the Brigitte even, and just have Losh reign supreme over them. So we'll see what the move is here. Neo looking for that backline, obviously, and he's found the Neo. That's a big hack.
That's a great way to start, but there's no one really there to clean it up. Culture coming in, rolling everybody off of that high ground, but the sustain is relatively high. Hypnotos says, no, you're not getting away with just that. Silent Sword able to get a pick onto Azukari. Vix trying to see if they can hold it. The Storm Arrow finds Lush, finds Era. They're not going to take it this time around. They hold the line. One fight down, 3 more to go.
Really good hold from Quokka Queens, especially when they were already down the Diva mech there. And really good setup there from Paradise Lost. They were just unable to act upon any of those targets. Yes, Culture booped off everybody on the high ground, but Lost was unable to focus on one specific target, and I think that's what kind of cost Paradise Lost there. But now they're looking for the exact same setup they were just running. Culture's looking for that boop off. He just needs to touch the point for a little bit, but Wash is close to this barrage. It might be used in this fight. Already a big hit, though.
Bridge Mageddon lights up the entire Quokka Queens purple right there, and they're trying to clean it up. Azukari falls, but Ira's there to res them back to Raj. Minefield, kitchen sinks abound for the side of Paradise Lost, and as much as I absolutely loved the defense from Quokka Queens first time around, Paradise Lost is like, nah, that's not gonna work a second time, Chief. They're gonna go ahead and take Blizzard World, putting them up 2-1 in the series as we head to halftime.
Paradise Lost looking to deny Quokka Queens their chance of facing off against Reminiscence again here with really good team play, really good chemistry throughout the entire thing. But Lost will get the play of the game for this astounding Pharah play that we've been seeing throughout this entire series. Neo and Losh have really been DPS superstars on their own, but now they're showing their potential here as now Paradise Lost goes up 2-1 in the series going into halftime. They are looking like a serious threat here, and Quokka Queens need to come up with some answers, or else they will not be going over to the grand finals for Discord tier.
That's true, and I feel like we're seeing, except for Control, which I always feel is kind of a gambit, even if you are the team that picks that particular map, we're seeing the typical Tier 3, Tier 2 trend, where you see the team that picks the map wins the map. It's just something that continues to happen, and I can't say that I'm surprised that we're seeing it happen here in this matchup. The question is, will Quokka Queens be able to turn the tide in their favor? Because if this mirror keeps happening, eventually Paradise Lost will win out this series. So Quokka Queens have got to be able to not only get this next map, but be able to coast off of that momentum and be able to take a couple more to turn the tide in their favor. We're going to send it to a quick halftime break, use the restroom, grab a snack, invite some more people over to watch some amazing Overwatch action. We are still in for the long haul, folks. There's lots to be played. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back, Overwatch fans, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, children of all ages, to this absolutely barn-burning match that we've got going on here between Quokka Queens and Paradise Lost, battling it out for the final spot in the Discord tier championships against Reminiscence. This is coming down to the wire, to be completely honest with you, Bowsy. And with the next map being chosen by Quokka Queens, taking us to Dorado. Honestly, I'm kind of worried. I'm not for certain if this is the right way to go.
Yeah, very interesting. We're going to Dorado next. There are swaps on both sides. Quokka Queens are bringing back in Harry Styles. We did see him when they played Skya, and that was the map they won in this series. But on the other side, Paradise Lost are switching up their support line, subbing out Rigmadon for Magic Turtle. So we'll see what the move is here from both of these teams. Dorado is a very interesting map. Can play to this sort of Hanzo Farah that we've been seeing a lot of Paradise Lost, but also can't. It depends on the point, it depends on the style you want to play. So we'll see what the move is coming out here from both teams. Maybe Quokka Queens has something secret up their sleeve that they're trying to keep in order to bring it out here. I hope it's not Harry Styles on the Bastion, because when the map was loading in, he insta-locked the Bastion. Please don't play Bastion.
I mean, I don't know which players are locked into their positions or not. Actually, based on what I'm seeing, the only players locked in to their roles are Monarch for Quokka and Hawk for Paradise. So, needless to say, it could get a little crazy, but I'll see. I mean, we could see some really big swaps here, but needless to say, it looks like they're going to go with the tried and true. I think the thing I'm a little surprised about, and we might be seeing the swap here shortly. There it is. I was going to say, in my comp games, utilizing the Brig to try to sustain a Pharah is pretty standard, but in the semifinals, probably not the direction you want to go.
Hello.
No, definitely not, but we will be seeing now. Paradise Lost have been playing the Pharah all game. Matson says, okay, let's try this game ourselves. So we will be seeing a Pharah on the side of Quokka Queens here. Looks like Paradise Lost are coming out with this Sombra Genji style. We did see Lost play a little bit of the Genji earlier in the match, but we'll see if it plays any advantage here. It could just be waiting for the perfect hero to play, and exactly that. Lost is going to be switching over now to the Ashe, so we'll see what the move is here from Paradise Lost. We'll see what they decide to do when they see this composition that Quokka Queens are running, and if they're able to come out with an effective strategy. Culture dropping low, however.
Ooh. Lost finds the finalization. Anzukari able to get the little bit of health down that Lost needed to be able to get the pick onto onto Madsen. We're going to see them quickly swap on over to the Cassidy to get back into the fight, but the payload is already making its way through the choke. And this 5v6 fight is not doing Quokka Queens any favors right now. We will see Azukari get taken down by Harry Styles, though. That might turn the tide a little bit back in their favor. Pulse Bomb comes out. Immortality Field Immortality not invested, because there is no Beth piece on the defense or on the attacker's side. But Losh able to find Vix, not able to get away, but the sustain still holds for now.
Yeah, Paradise Lost has just decided to take a slow reset here as the window will come out from just trying to separate anything. But now Paradise Lost is trying to get the advantage. Lost gets another big pick on the mats, and that's the second one this fight, in the second one this map. But we'll see what the move is here from Paradise Lost. They're probably just out waiting for the perfect opportunity to push in. And once that perfect opportunity comes, they're just going to be like a rocket just pushing in. Oh, never mind.
Madsen is like, oh, all right, Losh, I'm so done with your shenaniganry. I'm just going to roll in, flash bang fan the hammer, you know, the comp special, if that's what it takes to take you down, and especially when you got Ira in the back pocket as a good Mercy should be for their DPS, you know, supporting that additional damage. They're going to clean it up, and now it's 2 minutes on the clock. Are we going to see the Dorado first point hold?
We could. We definitely could. There are a lot of ults on the side of Quokka Queens right now.
That's true.
Shut it down. But Paradise Lost do have all 6 of their ults apart from Magic Turtle's Nano Boost online, so they could just be initiating with their ults, and that's what they're going to do with the Bobbity.
That's true. Neo with the dinks for days there onto Hypnotoss. And that's a cleanup of the objective. It's very clean, surgical even. Vic's the only one still remaining, but is going to get that gauntlet straight to the face from Losh. And that's going to be a minute on the clock. They're going to grab objective Alpha more than likely. Nope, we're going to see the beat come back in for the final moments with the Valkyrie.
Hypnotoss used that Valkyrie to get in and get invested on that. He's able to get kills, and now Paradise Lost. There's still an advantage. Neo's got 2 on the Sombra.
Neo is just in the backline doing the Lord's work right now. Beautiful minefield coming out just to solidify. I mean, Culture's been getting them like popcorn at a movie theater lately. Just about every fight seems to be close to a minefield or has it on the line. Gonna clear out some of this debris on the high ground, really make for clear rollouts without any possibility of stall. 3 minutes on the clock as they make their way through the streets.
Yeah, I mean, no possibility for stall, but definitely a possibility for stun with that Cassidy on the side of Quokka Queens. But Quokka Queens are trying to do a little bit of changes. Hypnotoss and Vix are switched over to a Brig and Soldier respectively, so we'll see what the move is here. And they're also switched the main tank to an absolutely murder horse with ability. Well,
gorgeous pull and elimination, but the dive says, okay, well, we can res that. We're going to dive in on your back line. That is not as resable with the BAP Brigitte. We'll see the cleanup come in rather furiously as the payload's still making its way forward and is looking to lock in objective Bravo.
You see, Harry Styles tries to invest the bomb, does get the kill on Azukari, but loses life to the hands of Culture. But still, with fights going back and forth thus far, Paradise Lost are not in the clear yet. They did lose their Wrecking Ball. That kill, if that kill went on to Neo, that would have been big here. But it looks like Paradise Lost still very clean. Quokka Queens are still trying to defend this, and they look like they might have a chance.
Yeah, I find it a little odd, the investment from Paradise Lost. I know that you've got dive takes, but they weren't 100% in position. You know, it still takes a little bit of time to get back from spawn to be able to set up properly, and it was a little rushed. Minute 30 on the clock, but they do have the combo that's been kind of breaking a lot of hearts today. The EMP Bob. Which you think would cancel each other out if you really think about the science of it, but nevertheless is working out for this team perfectly.
Look, Sombra's technology is very complex. We don't talk about it.
You're right.
We will be seeing the Imp Bob most likely come out here. Neo used that translocator perfectly.
Ooh, pays for it with their life, though, so the follow-up has to be there. Culture is able to find the pick onto Vix, and this amped Deadeye will find Magic Turtle in the end. Quokka Queens continue to hold here on the objective. 40 seconds remaining on the clock. Losh able to get that amped Viper shot in. There, the time is continuing to tick down, but the point is all in Quokka's favor as the spawn is just right inside that choke area. Vix on that sideline, in the back line with the pulse rifle, just deleting anyone and everyone in their wake with 15 seconds on the clock. They have one last desperation shot to be not locked out of Objective Bravo.
And they have no ults in the bank here for Paradise Lost. This has to be an absolutely desperation ult. They will be getting Vix here, but they've already lost Magic Turtle. This is looking rough for Paradise already.
That's true. Azukari already out of the fight as well. And as we know, Spawn's working the defender's side at this point. Neo trying to earn up that EMP. Lost, not watching where the cowboy is. The Cassidy finds the headshot with the Deadeye, and the cleanup from Vix as they take position on the high ground is going to go ahead and lock down Objective Bravo, just a couple meters shy of that lock. But it really sets a line in the sand for Quokka Queens and really gets you thinking about what Paradise Lost are going to run to try to shut down this attack.
Yeah, Quokka Queens were able to bring it back after losing that first point. They were able to hold that second point very well, and now they're in a potential where they could be tying up the series for the second time today, and we'll see if they're able to do it. Paradise Lost looked pretty good up until like the final minute of that. They looked a little staggered. They were using ults when they really shouldn't have, and they just looked kind of off. But still potential. They are one map up in this series. They're still looking really good throughout, and they got 95 meters on Dorado, which is typically where you stop when it comes to that sort of attack if you end up messing up on point B. But now we will be seeing Paradise Lost on the defense, running something we have not seen from them today, the Winston Diva. And it's surprising to say that we have not seen the Winston Diva coming from a Discord tier team, but Paradise Lost just functions like that, Jack.
That's absolutely true, Bowsy. And I gotta say, I mean, the traditional dive has always had a home here on Dorado. There's lots of high ground, especially in this first half of Objective Alpha. But I think the thing I'm most interested about, well, first off, I'm a little interested on that positioning. Rocket jump, yeah, it's completely possible. You rocket jump like onto the roof, I think,
yeah,
and then slide over. I mean, definitely nothing my flat brain could do, but you know, some people are super skilled at this game we call Overwatch. Nevertheless, Losh is in a perfect position to be doling out damage, and Monarch is already the first to fall, but the spawn's right there, not gonna hopefully pay for it too badly. Navino continuing to hold on by the skin of their teeth, and it looks like, well, I hope Losh just didn't abandon Ira. It looks like that will be the case, so just like, you know what, I'm gonna head out. Ira, you're on your own. that did not work out well for them or Losh in the end, as Madsen is in domination of the skies and Ore halfway to that barrage.
And that is how Losh lost a teammate. But still, a really good push coming out here from Quokka Queens, able to make use of the sort of weird positioning that Paradise Lost were using. And the first pick was Vix. He went straight for the backline and went on to Magic Turtle, so the Ana was already out of the picture. Ira was the only person left there for Paradise Lost and Niels, and now Quokka Queens looking pretty clean here as Paradise Lost come in the second attack. They're trying to dominate.
The interesting thing is, though, as we see the swap from Monarch over to the Ana as well, Barrage doesn't find anything, and I'm not for certain who they were aiming at, because it seems like everyone was kind of out here on the objective. Culture and Neo are getting trades, but it's pretty even. Neo literally just pulling Matrix moves on Objective Alpha right now, jumping over Vix and headshotting them. Objective Alpha still goes to Quokka, but Is there anything that this player can't do? Honestly.
I'm starting to feel like there is. And Neo's Hanzo's been really good, and I'm very glad to see Neo back on the Hanzo here. But still, Quokka Queens, they will be getting that first objective and have 4 minutes in the timing to try and get right around where point B is. Lost getting the kill on the Vix is going to be bad here, however, for Quokka. And it looks like there might be some stabilization coming out here from Paradise Lost as they try to hold it.
That is true. With 4 minutes on the clock, Quokka's got plenty of time to move their way in. We know how it is. They're patient. They're studious. They're going to make sure everything they do is in perfect timing. Neo, thinking that the shield was going to fall down, just barely gets taken out, but will be rezzed back into the fight. Massive anti-nade comes in, deletes Navino in an instant. And that's going to go ahead and lock down the objective. Lots of ultimates on the line now for the side of Paradise Lost, but Quokka's got a few in the pocket too.
Yeah, Quokka does have some big impact ults. Nano Boost, Valkyrie, you know, those two can go really well hand in hand. But you also have the Pulse Bomb for extra damage, but we'll see what the move is here from Quokka. I'll be interested to know where these ultimates go in terms of Paradise Lost. Obviously, the Dragon Strike is good for zoning, but can also get some big picks depending on where it's shot. The Tactical Visor is pretty much a really good way to get all those targets. So we'll see what the move is here from Paradise Lost. It looks like you will be seeing Quokka push through this chapel, and they're already getting met with a Dragon Strike on the other side.
That's right. Going to the chapel and getting married to death till death do us part seems to be the story between Paradise Lost and Quokka Queens right now. Madsen does get rezzed back up, but the Nano invested too. I'm not for certain if that was necessarily the right move. I mean, explosions, small spaces, unless you're Junkrat, that's not really going to work out well for you. They're going to get cleaned up, and now it's looking to be starting to get a little close. 2 minutes on the clock, and that golden box of victory is only 30 meters away.
I hope Monarch jumping off the edge was for a swap and not because Monarch has net issues. Yes, it was for a swap, thank goodness. But the good news from Paradise Lost is that they baited out, or the good news from like Quokka Queens is they baited out a lot of ults. Oh my goodness, Harry Styles is hungry, baby.
That is true. No Taylor Swift song gonna keep them down right here. Don't come at me. But Madsen here on the Cowboy doling out damage with the Peacekeeper is just indeed giving all the justice that Quokka Queens deserve. Ira gets shut down. It is just the Madsen show right now. Navino's like, okay, I want a little bit of that action. Please, just let me get one right now. But Madsen has the Deadeye online. We're heading into the golden box of victory, and the Deadeye is going to be zoning it out here shortly. I don't think there's anything that Paradise can do.
It's a mad Madsen world right now here on Toronto, and that Deadeye is just gonna clean up Lodge. Quokka Queens tie up the series in map number 4. A great showing there in that final push. They are gonna be tying up the series, and now Paradise Lost is choosing control of the game.
That is true. Culture. Getting my favorite play of the game animation there. Gotta love the meme Lord Culture here. But play of the game does not mean victory, as we have continued to see in this matchup. Tied up now are Quokka Queens and Paradise Lost, both incredibly hungry to go meet Reminiscence in the finals of Season 7's Discord tier. But right now, kind of edging each other out here. If the story continues to hold true, Paradise Lost will be picking this map and taking home the victory. And we're heading back to Control. So can they do a two-peat on Control maps?
We'll definitely have to see. Paradise Lost have been looking really good on Control. They were able to get a 2-0 victory on Lijiang Tower, so they were able to make use of that, especially on one map where they really didn't look too strong against Reminiscence, but were still able to take at least 1 point on that. But still, really good showing here from both of these teams. Quokka Queens showing that they are able to adapt. Paradise Lost also showing they're able to adapt. And that's what's the good thing about Discord here, is that both of these teams able to adapt in necessary situations and have been able to make it work. Up to this point, we have not seen Matson switch over to the Pharah, and as we saw, it kind of brought Quokka Queens to their victory here on the map. So we'll see what the move is here from Paradise Lost now that they know Quokka Queens have a Pharah of their own. And also having mix on that Hanzo means EO and Wash might have some problems.
That is true. Looking at the remaining maps for Control, we have Busan and Ilios. Both have regions that are beneficial to not only dive, but also this Pharah play style. So, I am very interested in trying to figure out which direction do you go if you're Paradise Lost. You know, if you go to Busan, it's definitely going to be a lot of direct contact. You know, if you end up getting the bad roll and end up on the mecha base, or for some reason lose one of the other two maps, you are going to be facing off against the Rush that, at least in close quarters, has been doing very well for Quokka Queens. So, and it looks like that is where we're going to be headed, Bowsy. So, do you think that's the right move? Or, you know, is the gamble of having that one enclosed map worth it in hopes to be able to dominate the other two?
Well, you seem to be forgetting on Control Center, a closed-in map that Paradise Lost were able to get a 100-0 sleep on, or like very close to 100-0 sleep on, without playing raw. So I think any team is going to be able to make use of that sort of quirky style on a all-encompassing brawl map. It's going to be Paradise Lost. They are not willing to conform to meta. We've seen them run up to this point, up until Dorado. Ball Winston for a majority of the time. They've never played Winston Diva up until that Dorado defense. So we'll see what the move is here from Paradise Lost. We will be seeing Rigmadon come back in from Magic Turtle. As we head into map number 5, Quokka Queens, no sort of changes yet. We'll see if there's any sort of changes they decide to make before the match starts. Gonna be interesting to see what the moves are here from both of these teams. Both of these teams have shown that they are really good all around. And confirm now, no changes. Quokka Queens, they're sticking with the same lineup they ran Dorado with.
This is going to be really interesting, and I agree with what you're saying about Control Center, but I think the thing to keep a little bit more mindful about is, you know, for Control Center, the main objective and a little bit of the area outside of it is very beneficial to that kind of chaotic dive composition. And as we've seen from Quokka Queens, you know, they can adjust. So now that they've had kind of all these maps to kind of learn, you know, how Paradise Lost uses this composition, and even though they're going to have a little bit more space in the mecha base, I worry about the entrances. There are three ways to get into mecha base for any type of composition, and you know how it is with Brawl or Rush. You're essentially playing, you know, if you're old like me, it was you know, original Chuck E. Cheese or Kids Zone or Discovery Zone or stuff like that. It had the crocodile heads that kind of poke out, and you had to hit them with the mallet. I mean, Booth agreeing with me in the producer booth here, but I feel like that might be what we see here from Quokka if we see the dive come out. That we just, you know, they have the hammer ready. I mean, they will probably have the Reinhardt as we head into Mecha Base, and you know, they're just gonna zoom around door to door, and keep hitting that Paradise Lost right on the noggin.
I mean, when Navino is playing the Reinhardt, you definitely can hit him right on the noggin with a giant hammer, just like you would with the alligator game or with Whack-A-Mole. So we'll see what the move is. I'm very curious to see if Harry Styles stays on the Winston here, as it looks like the teams are going to be heading in. Never mind, he switched right off the Winston, right off this. Maybe I should stop casting myself. Regardless, we will be seeing actually a different composition come out from Paradise Lost. No more of this monkey business. They're playing the horse and with an Ashe and Hanzo, so we get to see more of that Neo Hanzo as the Quokka Queens come out to the brawl.
Yeah, that's a very interesting transition there. I mean, they're looking for more of a pokey style, which definitely works for them here on Mega Base. You know, they're able to kind of put that distance between them. And Culture, look at that, almost 100 health and shields right there, just with a single roll through. Didn't even go straight through the entire team. And it's going to be able to utilize that to their benefit. But right now, the rotation is working out in Quokka Queen's favor. Wait, what?
Yeah,
Harry Styles was on that point.
He stepped off just in a little bit of a corner, I'm sure, but now he's established himself on the point.
All right, well, let's see if it's enough. Immortality, Dynamite, and Minefield already online for Culture. We already know how this is going to turn out. As much as I would love to believe that the Brawl is here and ready to make good work of this objective, I mean, you cannot doubt the Culture diff with these Minefields every single fight.
Another big thing is that the pile drive coming in from Culture also gave Losh an amazing dynamite. Got him the Bob almost immediately. They did use it in that fight, which might have been a little overinvestment, but still, Paradise Lost get the first cap on this point there, taking it up to 30% here. But now we do see Navino switching over to an Orisa, and we see a lot of DPS changes coming out on the side of Quokka. They're going to be taking the underground passage. I have never seen a team do that in 3 years of this game playing. That's a big thing on Pixel right.
That's true, but it's also very smart, you know, using that extra cover to be able to touch the objective. Unfortunately, it's not really going to end up working out for them because the goal is to be able to get to the point and stay alive, as we see Navino sent over the side. Culture, there we go, getting the momentum, gonna be able to get back into it. But we're heading into what could be the last fight, maybe a desperation push at the very last moment from Quokka Queens. They're having a hard time closing this gap, so they're gonna swap up over to the traditional dive.
In 3 fights, this is the 3rd composition that Quokka Queens have come out on. They are stumped right now up against this composition they're running up against. With the ult advantage going in favor of Paradise Lost, this Dragon's gonna be a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it does clear the high ground, but Madsen in your backline as usual. We do see the Sticky Mines come out, finds Neo as well. Gonna get ready to melt down Culture if they have anything to say about it. And there's the Bob on the field for Larsh, but it's not going to be enough to sustain at the 99 mark. Despite Losh still being on the ground. Oh my god! What is this? Losh just pulling out the heat, knowing that they have the control right now. What is this fight? Oh my goodness. Now it has to be a feed fest from the side of Quokka Queens. They get the flip. Paradise Lost keeps the fight going. Losh has put this entire map on their back. They are unwilling, unrelenting to give up this objective, and despite the feed coming in from the side of Quokka Queens, I think this is dead, done, and dusted, Bowsy. This is surprising, to say the least. Vix's birthday present that I couldn't give them just ended up going to Losh instead.
Well, remember that poem I said earlier? I would like to reiterate. Roses are red, violets are blue. Losh is alive, and he's killing all of you. This man is unstoppable. He killed 5 people in that fight and turned it around for Paradise Lost to bring them the point victory. That is unbelievable coming out from the DPS on Paradise Lost. Well played indeed. As we go to Busan Sanctuary, Quokka Queens need to come up with an answer for Lost, or else they are going to be going into a lost map here and give Paradise Lost match point. We will be seeing them come out with the Orisa Diva here on Busan Sanctuary, but the other side, Lost is still on that Ashe, and they're running the dive once again.
Oh, it's going to be up to Harry to kind of close that gap. Vix swapping over to the legs, seeing if they can close the distance a little bit, maybe get in the back line and deal a little bit of damage that way. We do see the rotation over to the Pagoda, trying to move their way into the objective pretty standardly. You know, Azukari waiting for that dive to come in. Gonna create the anti-nade perfectly placed, but Azukari is low right now, and with no shield to account for. Wait, Paradise Lost? Is that a full rotation we see coming out? They're on the enemy side, but it doesn't really matter right now. First pick coming in from Lush. Navino's down. That means no shield for the rest of the team. And Coulter and Azukari, although in half, we do see the point going to the side of Quokka Queens, but Lush is just dealing out damage insanely. Madon on this Zenyatta, providing those discords for Lush to be able to follow up on, but then Ant Matrix will allow Quokka to sustain. Perfect timing from Monarch, as always.
Really good job from Quokka Queens to be able to stabilize through that, especially with all the picks going in favor of Paradise Lost. They will be winning the fight, and they get the percentage counting up to 30% here. We do see swaps coming out from Paradise Lost. Neo is on his signature Hanzo we've seen so much of so far this series, but the support line I see from Paradise Lost, and I know this has been this way this entire time, Anna Zen is a very interesting support comp, but if they're able to pull it off, then this is going to be a really good play.
Well, the support goal, I believe, is not necessarily support, it's how quickly can we kill you, because our DPS are going to do it very handedly, as we see right here, literally handedly, as Neo goes ahead and ends that that final one with a Hanzo handedly. Oh man, puns I'm not even sure I'm making. The objective goes to Paradise Lost as they start their climb.
Yeah, I mean, what matters with heals if all the damage is there to get the job done? We will be seeing Harry Styles switch over to the Sigma, however, and the rally is going to be invested here from Hypnotoss before Quokka Queens make the engage. So, obviously, they just want to push it as quick as possible, get as much damage as they can into the enemy team, and we'll see the responses here from Paradise Lost. Quokka Queens.
Yeah, right now they're just trying to make sure that nobody gets immediately deleted by Neo. That's the goal, anyway. We do see them swap over to the double shield as well. Monarch using their repositioning effectively, and Vix is on the Hanzo now, so it's a battle of the Bowman and Vix. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. The point goes back actually relatively early, and we're in last fight territory for Quokka to lock this down and tie up the map.
They probably wouldn't be in last fight territory if Paradise Lost stepped on the point. Lost gave the point to Quokka Queens when they pushed in, and now Quokka Queens looking last fight territory. But this blocks from culture is huge. We'll get these kills, however. But
ooh, beautiful use of the fortify to be able to block the Bob onto the high ground. Hypnotoss still on that objective though, but cannot sustain. There's just too much damage coming in. They get it up to the 99% mark, but control goes back to Paradise Lost.
Yeah, Paradise Lost. The biggest thing there is I think they used all of their available ults. They used the Flux, they used the Bob, they used everything to try and get into the point. Now they got pretty much nothing. The closest ult they have is the Transcendence, the Window, and the Dragon Strike, somehow all at 57%. So we'll see if they're able to build those up before this next fight, but Quokka Queens, they do have some ults in the bank. They might be able to make the fight win out of it, because that's a massive dynamite coming out from Walsh.
Yeah, they got it. They just got to get the cleanup relatively quickly. They have to make it so that it is a clean sweep from Vix. Right around the corner, headshots for days right there, and that is going to be just what they need. The Transcendence comes in from Rigmadon just a little too late. They're going to be able to defend for a little bit longer, but I don't think that there's much they can do. Losh is going to go ahead and swap over to legs. Ira over to the Moira just to be able to see if they can defend, but I don't think anybody is going to be getting there fast enough to be able to stall it out. 100-78 as we see Quokka Queens tie it up as we head to downtown.
Yeah, Vix made a good flank there on the Hanzo alongside his DPS partner in Matson. They were able to get onto that back line and get those picks necessary. The rally from Hypnotoss was just the final piece they needed, and they were able to build it up. So now, tied up here on Busan, 1-1. Quokka Queens looking to try and bring it to match point, but Paradise Lost trying to stop them in their tracks as we head to Busan downtown. And already we see something that we haven't seen a lot of from Paradise Lost. Something that actually could classify as meta. A 6-man dive composition.
Yeah, hopefully you didn't speak too soon, but you are absolutely right. This is the meta for downtown for sure, and they're gonna take control, get the hack off into the mega room on that side of the objective. We do see the Hulk come in relatively quickly. Azukari falls low, but is not dead yet. And Losh on that high ground is going to be doling out damage, trying to get some hacks off. Neo falling low as well, but the sustain continues to come in. Harry Styles gets hacked, but the shield's there to keep them protected for now. Falling incredibly low. Somebody's got to heal up that diva, folks. Losh almost up to the EMP. Control goes on the objective to the side of Paradise Lost, but the fight is far from over as Control is looking to go over, and I don't know how the heck that Matson was able to get that Deadeye off. They were at least able to get one before being cleaned up by Neo, but it's not going to be enough for them to hold on to this objective. The studiousness of Quokka Queens lives once again. The feed fest from Paradise Lost will continue to sustain the point, but not for much longer. We'll go ahead and see the cleanup come in at the 28% mark as Quokka takes control.
Big thing about Quokka is they did use that Deadeye. Paradise Lost used absolutely nothing. So if you look at that ult bank, they pretty much will have a full 6 ultimates going into this next fight. So they have a lot of flexibility in terms of what they can use. It's all about how they use it and how much value they get out of it. So we'll see what the move is here for Paradise Lost. Losh gets found out, however, very low. It's barely a
Ooh, EMP self-destruct gets invested, finds Losh in the trade, and Harry Styles staying outside of the EMP is going to be able to use it to help sustain the team and eat up some of that damage. Paradise Lost had all those ultimates, but all for naught. Unfortunately, maybe a little bit of an over-investment, but if the point's still in your favor, Quokka will continue to sustain.
3 ults were invested by Paradise Lost there, the Primal, the EMP, and the Coalescence. So that's obviously not great for Paradise Lost, and Quokka Queens looking pretty good thus far. They did have to invest that bomb into this fight, but now the push coming in with the beat from Brickmadon, they want to try to finish this fight.
That's true. They didn't even wait to try to use the beat onto somebody's head. Unfortunate. Oh, right. Not experimental mode. Oh, the remake! The Blossom! The cleanup here on the objective. But Quokka is continuing to sustain. Team kill rings out loud and proud. Very few of those we've seen in this series. But first one up for Paradise Lost as they take it back and start that climb again.
They did use a lot of ults that I feel like weren't necessary in that fight. The Blossom was used in the later part, but still, they do have the stability here. We do see the brawl composition coming out from Quokka Queens, however, and this Deadeye from Matson with the Beck being down could be massive.
Wow, very interesting use of the rush there. The definitive rush too. You got the Cassidy, you got the May. It's literally everything that you need to shut down anybody from diving in. CC for days right now. Any type of mitigation to keep people off of your objective. The percentage does go in favor of the side of Paradise Lost, and they're still working very hard to keep that point in their favor. Primal Rage invested by Azukari, but it's not going to be able to get that elimination that they were looking for. Deadeye comes out and pulls the trigger almost immediately to take the monkey out of the fight. Culture! What is the double of 1080 to what, 2160 maybe? They're in the sky to try to sustain. I mean, it's pretty, but it did not work out in your favor. Gets it up to 96% though as we head to final fight territory.
I got all of those max DPI spins on the Diva, but regardless now, Quokka Queens have the advantage. 3 people hacked with AMP, but the
Hypnotos, beautiful timing. Rigmadon having to use theirs just to be able to meet it, but the Blizzard gets invested. Oh, what? Vix was able to freeze out Rigmadon, but is able to get out successfully. The rest of the team, not so much. The objective continues to hold sustain for the side of Quokka Queens as overtime ticks away. The picks just keep coming in. Ira down. Losh trying to touch, keep it in their favor. It's a feed fest right now. And unless this self-destruct really makes a difference, which it won't, because that May wall is in place. Even the flattened. Oh, there, maybe I am wrong. I mean, not the self-destruct, but it looks like we will see some goodbye here. The shatter, the self-destruct now coming in for the side of Quokka. They're gonna shut it down right now, or we're just gonna continue to see these trades come in. The hack on the Harry Styles is gonna make it very difficult for them to hold on because it's just the tanks on the objective right now. The overtime wick continues to burn down. Rigmadon going down in the fight as the overtime wick very close to dinking out. The feed fest just coming in so quickly from Paradise Lost. There's just nothing that it seems the Quokka Queens can do to sustain on the objective long enough to let overtime take over.
This is the thing with six-man dive. It just constantly stalls out the objective, but now Quokka looking like they cleared the double flash man coming out from Massive will clean up the fight, and Quokka Queens will bring us to match point in this series, Captain Jack.
Oh my gosh, I gotta tell you, Bowsy, it has been a long time for me. I know that I haven't been here and have been in many other places in the tier 4 to tier 3 scene, but man, Tranquility is one of those places that it's matches like these that you can expect at this at the end of the tournament that just gets your blood pumping right now. Quokka Queens finally able to turn the tide in their favor, prevent the map pick, map win in succession for the side that picks it. Paradise Lost now backs against the wall at match point. Have to choose, I believe, a hybrid map. Yes. Hybrid is next in line, and with Eichenwald and Kings Row on the field, which do you choose?
It's really hard to choose a map because it depends on the style they want to play. Do they want to continue going for Neos Hanzo, or do they want to Neos Hanzo or Lost Farah, or do they want to go for something that's more meta, something more mainstream? We saw them pull out the six-man dive on Busan downtown, which was really the first time they pulled out anything that's really meta on a map. So we'll see what the move is here from Paradise Lost. It could be one or the other. They try to go for Temple of Anubis, but I don't think that's a hybrid. Unless they reconfigure. You know, they could.
I was about to say, but Blizzard is trying to figure out what to do with all those 2 CP maps for Overwatch 2. So, I mean, Temple of Anubis could become the next hybrid map. It could be a possibility, but it isn't today.
Yeah. I mean, Hanamura was originally supposed to be a payload map, so they could be reworking all those maps to be used in different modes. But anyway, we will be getting that map hopefully from Paradise Lost soon. But it really depends on what that style they want to play is. Do they want to go for the more meta style approach, or do they want to go for that more DPS pop-off approach? If they go for the DPS pop-off approach, I would probably, depending on the map, if you want to play Neos Hanzo, Kings Row. If you want to play Lost Farah, you go to Eichenwald, but it's really up in the air, and we'll have to see what the move is here from Paradise Lost and how they're able to try and bring this back.
I kind of have to disagree with you a little bit on that one, because we've been seeing a lot more at higher levels of play, kind of this transition away from the brawl on Kings Row. That brawl rush that has been dominant for so long, ever since even before the Goats meta, which renamed Kings Row Goats Row. We've been seeing kind of a turn of the tides, and again, it goes back to that whole Shanghai, Chengdu, ball composition, where a Wrecking Ball is so talented that even the narrow chokes of Kings Row cannot hold them at bay. Now, yes, as you said, long lines of sight for Hanzo, very perfect, but those roofs are perfect cover as well, especially in the streets phase for a very talented Pharah, and it leaves very little to the imagination for Quokka Queens if they continue to come out with this rush or brawl composition that they've been kind of flopping between. It's going to make it very difficult for them to point down either of those DPS if you've got a wrecking ball constantly just driving through and taking your attention away.
Yeah, they will be choosing for their map. They're choosing King's Row. So we will be seeing what the move is here from Paradise Lost. Quokka Queens decided to make some swaps. Excuse me. Harry Styles is being swapped out for Silent Sword again, and Rocket is coming back in for Monarch. So obviously this might mean that they want to go for that more brawly Reinhardt style. Silent Sword, a Reinhardt specialist, if you will. So they're obviously gearing more toward that Reinhardt style on the side of Quokka Queens, and we'll see what the move is here from Paradise Lost, if they're going to be making any swaps, and if these swaps are going to be made at the right time. So we'll see what the move is here for Paradise Lost. And you know, they could either be conforming to a different sort of style. We could see this dive, we could see the meta brawl, but again, we could also see that Neo Hanzo that we've seen a lot of strength of. So we'll see what the move is here from Paradise Lost. Also, Pharah is a viable option on King's Row. Never acknowledge that is a bad option on that map. So we'll see what the move is here.
Yeah, ideally on Objective Alpha, it's a little bit difficult, especially when you have that high ground advantage for the defense if they set up properly. If you have the Cassidy or the Torb, anything that's going to make it relatively easy to take the Pharah out of the sky soldier, with the list of hit scans. It can make it a little difficult, but when you see kind of those very quick-paced dive compositions that we've been seeing so far coming out from Paradise Lost, it makes it very difficult to keep set up if you get dislodged with either the brawl, or even if they go for the full investment to make sure that their hit scans are safe, especially a double shield composition. It's going to make it very hard to rotate quickly. It looks like we are going to see that traditional rush coming out from the defense for Quokka Queens, and maybe we're gonna see the matchup of this kind of like brawly style versus brawly style, or we did see a little bit of this before, kind of the teleport nonsense from Quokka Queens, but maybe Losh is like, hey, I kind of know how to play Civ. I could do that.
We might see a situation where Losh teleports the team to the opposite high ground, because you saw right there, Quokka Queens are holding in the statue. So if they stay in this statue position, Losh can get an easy TP like that up to the top right high ground. Go back and switch over to a more impactful hero to try and get a big pick off, and then the rest is history. He already got a pick off with the turret.
That is true, but Hypnotos is going to be one of the fastest heroes to get back in the fight at very least. We do see Losh swapping over to the Echo, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to be able to turn the tide just yet. Ooh, but with the Navino... What?
Culture on the robot. Okay.
Pulled pork? Little pulled pork, baby! There we go! Good! I continue to be impressed with the variety of compositions we're seeing here. I mean, I alluded to it earlier, but you never know what everyone's got in the back pocket until it happens, and Culture's like, okay, now it's time. I mean, they didn't really have a choice. They had to give them that objective so that they can be able to set up at this choke without getting picked off early.
Yeah, I think some of the Quokka Queens got picked off, and they just wanted to back up and stabilize so they could have it. With the pulled port composition, never mind, it's now an Arista segment again. We will be seeing that amplification just coming out early from Rocket, and that's a wrong jump.
Trying to do the bend backwards over the head like they did on Vic. Madsen's like, nah, fool Vix, you can do that, but you're not gonna fool me. Not gonna happen this time around, but ow! Look at that perfect timing from Navino and Hypnotos. A good dose of tinnitus sends Losh back to spawn. I mean, the spawn's right there, but that's time off the bank.
Yeah, It is time off the bank, and it's more ult charge coming out here for Quokka Queens. They do have this Deadeye from Absent online. You'll be seeing the Dragon invested here from Neo, and that's a massive Dragon.
Oh, Rocket is the first one to get picked, so that means no Immortality Field, no big support coming in. Losh comes in, is able to get the duplicate off and gets in perfect position to use the Sticky Mines to clean up Silent Sword. 4 minutes on the clock, plenty of time for them to move through the streets phase, but there's going to be one more fight before they get to Bravo.
Yeah, you know, Losh just want to do a very good Matson impression there on the McCree. You know, just be on the Cassidy for a few seconds, and then just die immediately. That's what he's been showing what Matson's been doing all game. But regardless, you will be seeing Paradise Lost. They will be getting this card moving, but you see a lot of ults coming out on the side of Quokka. Including that bomb, that's massive from Navino.
I would say that was that almost looked like an oof there from Vix. I don't know if that was planned, but I'm gonna say it is. It's just the perfection of the fact that they were able to use the bomb jet against the wall just a little bit, thinking that they'd goof, and then let it down to finish riding out between the shields. Oh my gosh. What can either of these teams not do, Bowsy?
I'll tell you what they can do. Not play Pharah. Losh has switched to the Pharah. It's time, baby. I talked about it before when they selected this map. Pharah can work on Kings, and already Losh trying to get that big pick. And Neo presses again.
Oh, but Losh immediately deleted through the Ant Matrix. Neo is able to get that trade, but with Rocket going down, that's going to make it in Paradise Lost's favor. We do see the bongos, we do see the Gravitic Clutch, but the Shatter lays them all on the floor. Silent Sword cleaning it up in a fervor as the rest of the team, although sacrificed, as is Reinhardt's namesake. Vix will go ahead and clean it up with the rest of the team, locking it down to shy of Bravo with 2:15 on the clock.
Good sustain coming out from Quokka Queens to resist all that ult pressure coming in from the side of Paradise Lost. But the problem is they used a lot of ults of their own. The beat was invested, the window, the shatter. That's a lot of ults off the table. All they have is this Blizzard and Bomb. But then again, Navino's bombs have always been impressive whenever I've seen him in Tranquility. So we'll see if the same sticks out here. Neo is going to be using this Dragon early, however, to try and get it.
All right, you got to be a little careful there, Bowsy. We don't want to give Navino a big head there, but I mean, when you perfectly pick out Losh, I mean, I'll give you a little bit of praise there, Navino. Perfectly timed, and with the Far Mercy down, it is just a rush onto the remaining members of Paradise Lost. Thankfully, they were able to pull out soon enough, but without that Lucio, they have to be very careful how close they get to Quokka.
Absolutely. We will be seeing Matson switch over to the Soldier 76 here. No longer on the Hanzo to contest with Neo. But Paradise Lost, they need to try to come up with answers. Are they waiting for an ult bank to build up? Because if so, they have to build up some ults in the next minute. Or they can just wait for Neo to get that big pick on the Matson again, which has been a very constant trend. Neo getting the first pick in all these fights over that wall.
That's true, but here comes the Blizzard. It's the Winter Wonderland here on King's Row, and I'm not talking about the map variant. The cleanup comes in fast and fierce from Quokka Queens. Even though the Far Mercy is still alive, they'll let them live for now as they escape back to the safety of the team. We're heading into final fight territory with 40 seconds on the clock.
Good news is, Paradise Lost, they've been using all these dry fights to their advantage. They now have the Dragon and the Barrage both online coming into this next fight. They also have that window from Aira and also the Valkyrie coming out from Rickmanon. So we'll see what the move is here from the side of Paradise Lost. It looks like they will be getting control of this cart. But on the other side, you do have good ults from the side of Quokka. They just have to play this patient like they have all game and make use of it in the end. See what the move is. The Dragon is very good from the end.
That's true. They will get a little bit of clearance, but the rotation is perfect from Quokka. The barrage ends up missing. Gravitic Flux now coming out from Culture, raises the team into the sky, but Silent Sword still lives for now. The accretion only damaging Culture instead of doing anything to Silent Sword, but there it is. The supercharger invested. Everything is on the table for Paradise Lost, but it is not lost. It is gained. Objective Bravo is locked in. Team kill once again for Paradise Lost, but that is not proven to be fully successful as they head into the Foundry with a minute 30.
Minute 30 on the clock here for Paradise Lost, and they've already built up a lot of those ults that they used in that fight. They already have another Dragon Strike online here, and Lost almost has that barrage up, so they're really doing a good job with this ult economy, and Neo just gets another kill on the Imagine. Here's the bomb from Navino, and it's not going to get anything except the immortality deal, but oh, that's a very close quarter strike here for Quokka.
Yeah, went a little bit slow there on the self-destruct, a little too far, but Losh, Matson was like, okay, I'm so done getting logged. I'm gonna stay far enough away and give myself a scope to make sure that I can at very least get some damage in on this fight and not die at the beginning of every single fight due to Neo. Vix will go ahead and follow in their stead, but they will lock down the objective in its final fight once again.
Matson switching over to this Widowmaker obviously wants to just go for the immediate pick potential. That's all they want right now for Quokka Queens. Make sure that Pharah dies immediately. Make sure they can get any sort of easy pick first. Looks like he wants also Silent Sword to shield him so he's able to get that perfect shot, unable to get it. But now the push coming in for Paradise Lost. They have this window. They are trying to push, and already Lost picks on Matson. That is not what you want to block.
Nope, that's not good. But these daggers could be used in Quokka's favor. They're using a lot of ultimates early, but they are going to get a chance to bring it back. Neo does have that Dragon Strike and Rigmadon with the Valkyrie. There are ultimates on the line. The beat can be invested here. And there comes the rotation. Speed boost out of spawn. Wow. I gotta say I'm a little surprised by that. I thought the speed boost would have given them plenty of time to touch, but I was wrong. Must have been millimeters away. It had to have been close.
From what I saw, Navino was trying to dash in on the Diva, and Culture, with a huge accretion on that Sigma, knocked Navino away. Navino was the closest person to that cart, and that accretion made sure he couldn't touch. So, oh my god, that is not what you wanted to see if you are Quokka Queens. Now you've made it so that Paradise Lost, they can at least bring this to drawable territory. So now what do you do if you're Quokka Queens? You now have just sacrificed getting that potential hold here on King's Row, and now you're on the attack with Paradise Lost running this very awkward composition.
Attackers incoming in.
Oh, well, I haven't heard of Paradise Ross, you know, maybe a Friends variant, you know, new show getting ready to come out, but for Paradise Lost, I totally get what you're saying there, Bowsy. It is going to be interesting to see another composition out from Paradise Lost here. I hope you're in for a little bit of torture, because we got the ball and hog on the field, and it looks like Matson not even going to take that chance with the Widow.
No, I didn't take the chance with the Fairy.
Yeah.
Switching over to that cast read. Stock standard brawl here for the side of Quokka Queens. They're going to be going into the theater, going to see a little show, and then going to be partying out to see the enemy team. Culture, however, is quite
well, you know, just wanted to help them out, you know, saw where they were going and want to make sure they make it there okay. They will
help you.
Yeah, exactly. They will sustain, though. The immortality field keeps them up, but will give quite a bit of charge to Culture. And they're going to be able, if they can, rotate through perfectly. Hip toss. They use that wall ride to try to zone out Culture once again, trying to prevent this rotation from happening. It looks like that won't work out in their favor. Navino gets caught out, though, by Azukari, gets hooked and demech'd. Vix pays with their life as well, so it's a 4v6 now, 4v5 actually, as Neo goes down to Rocket. But with 3 minutes on the clock and this rotation still coming in, Quokka Queens one on back. Absolutely beautiful pick onto Azukari, but the fight is far from done right now. Culture's almost up onto that minefield, and Neo with that Dragon Strike returning to the fight. It's only first tick on the objective, and that time bank is continuing to dwindle down. Remember, this point was already in favor of Paradise Lost. Big engage from Navino coming in at the final moments, really trying to make Neo feel at home, you know, give them the space that they need, and then rip the rug right out from under them. We see the kill streak coming in beautifully for Rocket as they defend Point Alpha. And that's going to unlock the payload, start making their way through the streets with 4:40 on the clock.
Yeah, very interesting double sniper and hog ball approach coming out from Paradise Lost. Unfortunately, it just wasn't able to work. Once Quokka Queen saw the hog in their sights, Omaewa mo shindeu, and just like that, Azukari was sent to the grave. But now Quokka Queens, they will be able to make the advantage, and we already see swaps coming out on the side of Paradise Lost, and already working as Lost gets that kill on the pick.
That is true. So swapping over to the Doomfist, single pick potential. Neo on the Junkrat as well. Very interesting composition here, but you know, when you are looking to get single pick potential, I couldn't pick two better heroes to make it happen. And there comes Losh going on, and Silent Sword ends up taking the fist. And the immortality finally fades. Vix is able to get the trade. Coulter ends up finding Matson with at least one of their mines. And that's going to go ahead and clear the point for now. Vix is in the back line looking to finalize that elimination. Will get Neo, but it's not going to be enough to sustain on the point. There are just too many members of Paradise Lost here to keep it in tow.
Yeah, well, I've talked about before how Paradise Lost seems to really like playing this sort of spammy style with dive tanks, and that is pretty much no exception here. The spam DPS of Neo and Losh with the dive tanks of Azukari and Culture have really been their bread and butter through most of the maps that we've seen them succeed on, so we'll see if they're able to keep it up here as Quokka Queen's going through a very narrow corridor here on the top with all 6 ults in tow. This is going to be a massive hodgepodge coming up here.
Hodgepodge is about the word for it. And starting off with the pick on Neo, massive anti-nade coming in. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. The nano goes in onto Losh, able to get hypnotized with the uppercut. And we see Silent Sword falling incredibly low. The cleanup is fierce with all 6 of those ultimates. It did not seem to matter at the end of the day to Paradise Lost. They perfectly used the ones that they had ready and raring to go. Even Navino, thankfully, was not able to get staggered out. Goes for the hard reset inside, but that time bank is dwindling right now, Bowsy. They got to make something happen.
Well, they're going to start making something happen. Vix is not very happy after Losh punched him into a wall like that, so he's switched over to the Sombra. He's kind of sick of this. Did Neo just get a spawn camp kill onto Rocket on the Baptiste? I'm sorry.
Not ideally spawn camp, but very well timed as they were coming through the choke, and that shuts down the push right then and there. They're gonna wait for their BAP to get back into the field, but Quokka having to waste a little bit more time to get that hero back in their team.
Culture's also in the back line looking for that perfect pile drive and mine combination to see if he can get that. Here comes the tire from Neo, however.
This is not good. This is not good. The minefield's out, and the tire is going to be invested as well. Losh coming in. Matson with the cowboy gets taken out of the fight, and another team kill rings out loud and proud. Quokka flipped the script, but now Paradise Lost are looking to flip it back into their favor and take us not only to match point, but map point.
Definitely very interesting as you see all the spam coming out from Neo on the choke. Really good use of the ults, but we'll see if it's able to play into their favor. Squad Queens, once again, making the push in. They do have some ults to help them in this fight.
Gracious.
And already a lot of damage done to Silent Sword shield. He stays alive. Now the push comes in. Oh,
unfortunate timing. The nano goes out. Bomb coming down for Navino. Doesn't find the targets it's looking for, though. Meteor Strike is nothing but shield, thankfully. Perfect timing there from Silent Sword. But the ante is going to keep this Ryan out of commission just a little bit. They're trying to sustain. They're trying to keep Silent up the best that they can, but Losh is going to get taken out of the fight. Ultimates online as we see Azukari coming in. The hack goes on to Culture. That payload moves forward, and I'd like to say that they might be able to turn this tide, but I don't think it's going to happen. We do see Madsen here coming in with that. Gonna use the Peacekeeper to take down Neo, assured that his team is gonna take down the tire as the overtime wick burns down. They are in a similar situation that we saw Paradise Lost. Objective Bravo is captured, but the fight continues on, and actually these dagger picks are going to prevent a very early hold. We could be heading into what could be final fight territory with actually, it doesn't matter how they get there. They're going to be under a minute. We're heading into extra rounds.
And now Paradise Lost are so desperate, they have switched off every single hero and have switched to a stock standard wall composition of their own. You see the MP, however, it is massive coming out before.
Navino sending the bomb once again a little too far. Does find Neo though. Gonna help them out, and they're gonna be able to clean it up. It looks like just barely Team Kill finally rings out now for Quokka Queens, but just barely. Paradise Lost are going to be able to earn themselves another fight. Well, I say that.
No, not that.
You know, you were going to spawn camp, or you were going to spawn campus with the dragons, right? Well, we're just going to meet you in the spawn doors instead. You know, we were not a fan of how you did that to us, as we see the defense matrix wearing death. You get the full skull, and the Deadeye takes down that. Oh man! Vix with the hack on Ira sends him right on over the side with the stun as the time dwindles down. It doesn't matter how the Speed Fest continues onwards. There just doesn't seem to be anything that can be done. 2 seconds separates the success of this map. Kings Row, the map everybody loves between these two teams.
Really good rebound there from Quokka Queens. They knew exactly what to do. They knew exactly how to pull it out, and they brought it back when it mattered the most. So great job from Quokka Queens. After sacrificing the point just barely, they were able to reset their mentals, get themselves back in the game, and bring themselves to the end of the map as well, with 2 seconds to spare in the time bank. 2 seconds ain't a lot, but hey, at least you get to defend first instead of attack. But we will be seeing now Paradise Lost on the attack. This could determine the series, depending on how well this push is from Paradise Lost. We could be going to a map 7, or Quokka Queens could have a chance to shut it out right here and there. It looks like Quokka Queens are going to be coming out on this stock standard brawl with the Sombra once again.
That is indeed true. We could also see the draw, which could potentially take us to a map 8. As producer Booth gives a grunt, I gotta just put it on the table. It is a possibility. I mean, we have been at this point for 3 hours, but it's not the playoffs if we are not going all the way. And definitely these semifinals matchups are some of the best that we'll see. But with the way these teams have been playing, I can't help but think that this might be drawable.
We see Neo and Losh coming out on their specialty heroes. Neo on the Hanzo, Losh on the Pharah. They have decided to just go all in, all chips on the table, making sure they can try to do everything they can to win. There's already a huge Hakanagi Kari Hub. No follow-up there, unfortunately, from the rest of the team. But Matson finally redeems after all those first deaths and gets the kill on the Losh.
Well, you know, it's all about the trade, right? So Neo takes out Matson, but Losh falls to Matson. So it's all about who gets it first. Oh, the anti-nade is fat. Will take out Silent Sword and Vix from the fight. This is the potential that Paradise Lost need. At very least, they just need to get a tick on the objective. Any sort of percentage will give them the opportunity that they need. And this is it. It's desperation time for both teams as they are trying. You see the defense trying to prevent that single tick from happening. You see the offense coming in, trying to keep it in their favor. It's so close. It's within percentage points. The Nano comes in. Neo finds a pick onto Vix. Azukari with the Nano finds Madsen. And they're so close to be able to get up that tick on the field. Shield, Silent Sword falling at the end. The only ones on the objective to be able to hold right now was Hypnotos. And that tick comes in. Objective Alpha comes in as the team hopes to regroup, hopefully gets everybody in before that final one comes in. Navino getting the long spawn at the final moment, and that is not going to be a chokehold.
No, it won't. Navino being the one with the bomb here will be detrimental for the side of Quokka Queens. They need to be able to regroup fast. They need to be able to get into this fight as quickly as possible. They won't get that hard hold, but Paradise Lost are pushing up really far. They might be able to salvage this, and Vix gets that first kill in the culture. That could be massive.
Ooh. I'm actually a little bit surprised that Vix ended up going for that pick potential. Oh no! Navino not timing it out perfectly, unless they were going for launch. I figured they were trying to go to clear the point.
No, they get the card again!
And there it is. It's not one of your playoffs matches if you're not getting a good old Charlie Niner when it really matters. But to be honest, the damage is already done. Only a minute on the clock, a minute 2 rather. That 2 seconds ain't gonna matter much for the side of Quokka Queens. They have to grab objective Alpha and push it through the choke. And the way that the attack happened last time around, I hate to say it, I think we're going to map 7, Bowsy, and I don't think there's anything that Quokka can do to stop it.
Quokka Queens did show that they could make a successful attack last time, but now we see that Paradise Lost, they're not willing to run that Roadhog anymore. Quokka Queens were able to get to the Roadhog so quickly, so now they're running out with this, again, the dive tank spam DPS style that we've seen so much of him, but Losh not playing the Doomfist this time. Now he's on the Pharah, but we'll have to see if Paradise Lost now is able to recover from not touching the cart at the right moment. That's the second time this has happened this map, Captain Jack. Something's up with King's Row. We might need to rename this to Cloud Knight Row.
I mean, that might be the case, but you know, like I said, if you're not at least, you know, the scripts as always are written at the beginning of every Tranquility season. You know, we got to give a little bit to the audience, a little bit of imagination there to think that there's still a chance here, and there is for Quokka Queens to make it happen. And they did grab objective Alpha, but it took them quite considerably longer to be able to get it, and they only get a minute on the clock. And with Losh already grabbing Rocket, this is not looking good.
Absolutely not. Hypnotos also died in the aftermath, but we will be seeing the Pharah duel here. But those 2 seconds pretty much have gone to waste, and now 30 seconds on the clock here for Quokka Queens. They have to regroup. They have to recuperate. Make sure no one else gets picked off in these next 30 seconds, or else they're going to map 7.
That is true. Navino really needs to get into the face of Losh right now. Even if you gotta kind of sacrifice yourself, that might be the option. Big sleep coming in on the Madsen, but ends up getting damaged in the final moments, and there it is. Quokka Queens looking to finish out this series, and the Snaggers are indeed there. Rigmadon getting taken out in the final moments, not gonna be available for this objective. They're not gonna be able to get back in time, and the picks are already looking to come in from Quokka as they already push through the choke.
Quokka pushing up really far. Madsen does have this barrage for the next fight. As long as Quokka is able to stay on this cart, stabilize, keep themselves alive, push through every single ult that Paradise Lost have, they have the potential to be able to bring this map into their favor. We'll see what the move is here from Quokka Queens. And you see Paradise Lost looking for the engage. That window from Rocket very early, however, trying to separate Paradise Lost.
My heart is bumping in my head, and with Batson already down the road, trying to come in, he goes and comes in. Losh once again putting the team on their back as the overtime wick burns away. The spawn advantage is not going to help Quokka Queens here. They get shut out. We're headed to map 7. The absolute gauntlet is being fought here in the semifinals because one of these teams wants it more than the other, and this next map decides.
If you were to tell me that this would go that close to overtime rounds, probably less than a meter left on both sides, I thought you would be crazy after Quokka Queens didn't touch the card. But oh my god, this is it. Quokka Queens, they were so close so many times to taking this series. If they did not step off that card in the final moments, we could be seeing Quokka Queens be your finalists right now. But no, they didn't step on the card in time. Paradise Lost took advantage of it, and now Paradise Lost are bringing us to a crucial map 7, a final escort map to determine who is going on to face Reminiscence in the grand finals.
And the great thing is that Quokka at least gets the decision to put this map in their favor. Now, of course, as we look at Escort, the only 2 maps remaining are Watchpoint Gibraltar and Route 66. Now, based on the composition that we have seen from Paradise Lost, I mean, both of those maps are highly dive influential, and I worry a little bit about what the plan here is for Quokka. I mean, they could essentially kind of give up, first and second point, knowing that they could possibly still take it, utilizing, Big Earls and the various different saloon spaces and second point. But, if it goes to the brink that it needs to go inside the bunker, they can shut it down there with the compositions that they've been running. But oh man, Bowsy. I mean, first off, I am really regretting the fact that I wore a sweater. It's kind of cold in my office because I'm surrounded by a lot of concrete, if you can't hear the echo. And this match is just so hot. It's just so hot. The barn is demolished. There are smolders on the ground. And the question is, whose flame will go out first?
We'll have to see which flame goes out first as we head to the match with a lot of flames in the beginning. Route 66 is Quokka Queen's choice. They have made some swaps in Harry Styles and Monarch are back. No more Silent Sword and Rocket. We will be seeing those 2 for this final map. The winner of this map goes on to face Reminiscence in the Discord tier Grand Finals next week. It's all on the line, all or nothing. One team wins, goes on to face the finalists. The other team goes home with third place.
That is true there, Bowsy, and I'm just I'm beside myself here. I mean, I definitely want to get my kicks, but I'm running out of steam, as I'm sure these teams are as well. Like we were saying in the beginning, the playoffs are meant to be a gauntlet. You've spent the entire season being like, okay, like we can 3-0 here, 3-0 there, and we can make it very quick. But when you are at these final matches of the season, you are going up against people that are your equals. And typically we see this every time in the semifinals, sometimes in the matches before, but especially in the semis. It goes all the way every single time. Quokka Queens defending their crown, defending the crown of their org to be able to move on to the championship. Paradise Lost, the dark horse, looking to make several additional upsets here in the playoffs. One will walk away the victor.
Close train car hold is going to come out here for the side of Quokka Queens, and Paradise Lost, they didn't really expect it too much, but Quokka Queens are ready to react to it, and Vix already gets the first pick off.
Now that is good timing, but remember, getting picks off so close to spawn is also going to make it really quick for them to come back. You're going to have to take essentially double the fight to be able to make sure that you hold this card essentially where it is. So with one fight down, 7 to go, Quokka Queens are going to have to be very diligent about how they make sure this works out in their favor.
As the fight starts up here again, these fights are going to be really quick. I'm going to have 2 words to say.
Losh Farah is out, but that is never necessarily shown to be always the dominant force. We do see Era going down early. Monarch is traded, but that is going to be spawn advantage for Paradise Lost. We see the cleanup coming in. Quokka Queens only have Hypnotoss on the brig. Thankfully, the rally is getting ready to come online, but Monarch has a long haul to get back here. Hopefully, these ults will sustain them.
Hopefully Quokka Queens are able to stabilize themselves. This is a lost fight in the making right now. We'll see what the move is here. Neo does have his EMP. If he's able to hit it huge here onto the members of Quokka Queens, this could be a one fight here for Paradise Lost, but it all depends on how good this EMP is. We do see Monarch. He's back in the fight, however, so now Quokka Queens are back up to a full stage. The window's been invested, and that's a 6-man EMP!
The EMP is there, and there it is. Barrage 4 days. Launch opens up the can of worms that is there for 2 minutes are off the clock. Quokka Queens did everything that they could to try to sustain on this objective, and they're continuing to shave time off that bank. But thankfully, we will see Paradise Lost not ready to give up yet. Start pushing that card.
Now we see Hypnotos switching off of the Brigitte onto a Lucio. Obviously, the Brigitte's better for sustain, but Lucio better for this brawl composition that they're running. Quokka still do have a lot of ults. The only ults they invested were those support ults, so we'll see what the move is here. Neo got an early hack onto Harry Styles just to build up that EMP, but that's pretty much the extent of that. Now, Quokka, they want to push in quickly.
Oh, shut down! Matson immediately taken out of the Deadeye. Azukari able to get the follow-up onto Monarch as well. Vix attempted to use this Blizzard, doesn't have the cryo online to be able to get their health back and keep them protected. They might be able to get another fight in, but again, damage done very early by that hold. They're already down to a minute.
I think Matson's Deadeye was actually hacked out by Neo on the Sombra, so this Sombra has been doing a lot of numbers here for Paradise Lost. It's been the main way to win this fight, and that barrage from Lost in the backline.
Very beautiful work there. Using the bubble instead of the EMP, Azukari is able to prevent that defense matrix from getting the full value that it was looking for. And there's the EMP to clean it up, but Vix is out of line of sight. The Blizzard's on the point, but it doesn't matter when you got Losh in the sky. Harry Styles is going to be able to touch, going to be able to continue to let down a little bit of that time bank, but nevertheless, Objective Alpha's captured, and another 230 is added to the bank.
Vix is switching over to the Soldier now off the Mei. Obviously, that Blizzard was just used. And Hypnotos back onto the Brigitte, so now they want to stick onto more stable comp. No more of that sort of fast-paced brawl. And Navino's also made that swap onto the Orisa. So it's definitely interesting compositions we're seeing here from Quokka Queens. They're trying to adapt to the style that Paradise Lost are pulling out, and they just are taking a long time. They're waiting in this small room to be able to push in. They're waiting for the perfect opportunity to get that engage out, and there's a perfect opportunity to get that window.
That's true, and it was a hard decision that they had to make, right? It was either Route 66 or Watch Point, but as we see them coming in, we do see the flail get the pick onto Culture. The trade comes in onto Vix, though, so it is going to be the 5v5. Matson trying to sustain barrage out once again, takes down the tank line of Quokka Queens, and that's going to be a cleanup far too late for them to possibly be able to contest, as I was trying to say rather quickly, but the fight started. Both of these maps were not going to be a good choice against this style of composition. You kind of wonder if whether they should have gone with Watch Point so that they could have at least held the hangar maybe a little bit better in their favor, but now they have a chance in the bunker.
Yep, in the bunker, Far is a lot harder to pull off, especially with the extremely low ceiling. This is probably the most closed-in point of any payload map in the game, so definitely a lot of potential here. That Deadeye from Matson came very close to wiping out Azukari. Good job. And the EMP, once again, Matson from there.
And it's always perfectly timed, and it seems like every time Quokka are not prepared for it, self-destruct goes high, everybody's able to get it. Sneak it in! Harry Styles more like Harry Osborn, the Green Goblin of Overwatch here, as they go ahead and clean up the objective. Those remake kills, just absolutely beautiful, and that's time shaved off the bank and the payload halted.
Harry Styles taking pages out of Navino's book from the Harmony Finals last season, getting those remake kills in a time when they needed it the most. So great job there from Quokka to stabilize enough. But now a wholesale comp coming out from Paradise Lost. They're back on the full force brawl competition with the cast. Let's see what the move is here from Quokka Queens and how they're able to counter this.
Attack buys are getting ready to come online for Vix. Navino's got the supercharger as well. Madsen is literally on a tirade, whipping around, knowing that Neo is looking to get into their backline. Brigmadon and Harry trade eliminations. Azukari down as well, and that might be the nail in the coffin for this fight unless the DPS can change the tide. Neo and Lodge are going to go ahead and pull back to the safety of the team, but their ultimates abounding on the side of Quokka Queens as a minute remains on the clock.
Navino was the first casualty in that fight for the side of Quokka Queens, but the team was still able to stabilize because Hypnotox had that rally, so a great move there from Quokka. Now, Paradise Lost. They still don't have any ults up, but they're starting to come close on some high-impact ults. That Deadeye, that window that's now dead because our Iron's dead to the hands of Vix. All these ults can make a huge impact as the fight goes on. We'll have to see what the move is here from Paradise Lost. They're going to have to retreat, unfortunately, losing those 2 Vix. But 39 seconds in the time bank right now for Paradise Lost. They have to make some big moves and quickly. They're making the move from Azukari, switching off the Reinhardt onto the Orisa. So now they're running the mirror tank line.
They have to. I mean, the poke damage is just too much for them to be able to sustain, and having that extra little bit of distance damage from Azukari on that Orisa is going to be so helpful. Deadeye coming out from Lush, looking for a head to click. Vix, tempting fate, is able to pull an Azukari and get behind the line. Madsen finds one with the Deadeye. We see the self-destruct go out, and it's overtime, baby. Tankvisor to clean up the remainder. As we were saying, it's going to be locked down here in the bunker. 32 meters for the side of Quokka Queens, but they gotta make it through the first 2 points first, and that was so hard for them to do. Do they have one final trick up their sleeve?
What I said before reigns true. They chose this map because that bunker was a Pharah counter in its own. Sure, Paradise Lost could use that Pharah Hanzo or Pharah Sombra to their advantage in the first 2 points, but once they got to that bunker, Quokka Queens were able to make advantage of the close-in space, bring out their own spam composition, and start to tear apart Paradise Lost one by one. Now comes the question. If Paradise Lost runs a Pharah on defense, what is the plan of attack from Quokka Queens? The answer we might not know right now, because right now Losh is showing showing the Ashe with a ball hog composition once again. But we are seeing Neo on that Hanzo, and remember how well he did before. Never mind, not Ball Hog. Orisa Sigma now.
Yeah, the bait gonna get us until the very end there, Bowsy, but it is a smart move. Although, you know, it's one of those things where, you know, ideally they would have loved to do that dive, right? It's perfect for a map like this, but when you're trying to stop a payload, it doesn't really help you all that much. I mean, we saw that on King's Row, you know, unless they had quite a few ultimates to be able to kind of stagger out, it worked kind of effectively, but when you're just starting out, you need something a little bit more substantial.
Quokka Queens, they're running this sort of spam composition with the double sniper. We actually see mirror competition for, I think, the first time in a long time in this matchup, so we'll have to see what the move is here. Obviously, in a mirror competition, it's usually the better team that gets the advantage and Losh. I guess that really picked up the Navino. That's massive.
That is a great way to get things started, and Vix down as well. That is going to be a pullback, but again, spawn advantage to the side of Quokka Queens. Nothing to worry about, but that time bank's gonna be dwindling. You gotta get back in fast.
Absolutely. You see Quokka, they're just waiting. They're going to be taking this high ground approach. Yeah, a lot of damage on all sides. They're able to stabilize, and they're able to get through this mine shaft. I think the only person left out is Monarch on the Baptiste, but outside of that, they're looking in good position right now.
It's alright. They were able to get them rotated, take the attention away. Navino falling incredibly low, and with Madsen already down, The res does come in, but the trade onto Navino is going to be deadly. There's Vix looking to channel that Hanzo energy, looking to see if they can get some additional lock picks. There it is on Ira, shutting that down right there, but there's not enough of them to be able to sustain. The payload is going to get moving once again, but you still got the DPS there on the higher ground and Rigmadon holding them together, a window in the pocket.
The good news is for Quokka is that they...
Oh!
Okay, that was just a thing that just happened.
The forest amongst the trees right there, as you see logs thrown in opposite directions, both finding eliminations. The Amp Matrix comes out, Harry Styles has to pull back. There is nothing that they can do to push through this, and with over 2 minutes down, Paradise Lost is making it really hard for Quokka Queens to sustain.
Paradise Lost has been able to pump out more damage than Quokka Queens in the overall gist of things, but that ult would have been massive with a dynamite. But again, Azukari gets the final kill in the Navino, but now it looks like Quokka Queens are trying to rebound after that.
That's true. The res comes in though. Bob is able to be utilized and taken down. Dragon Strike out, but the immortality holds everybody together for now. Harry Styles goes down. Gravitic Flux utilized by Culture, and the cleanup is fierce. Only a minute remains on the clock. Quokka needs to turn the tide, but with all those ultimates utilized, that stagger's going to be rough. But there are quite, well, I was going to say quite a few, but at least an additional ultimate that we don't see on the side of Paradise Lost in the pocket for Quokka.
We do see ults on the side of Quokka Queens that could turn the fight. They have the bomb, the drum, the flux. The flux is going to be used early here, and here comes the push coming out from Quokka.
That's true. They're going to be able to sustain for now. Dragon Strike invested by Neo, but they're going to be able to rotate through the mine shaft relatively eloquently. We do see the supercharger now invested at 30 seconds on the clock. Somebody has got to get this cart a-moving. They got to get those picks, and Monarch opens the door, opens the garage door that is pumping out damage on top of Big Earls like it is just a filler-up station. The Bob getting invested now from Madsen. Dynamite coming in. Bombs both on the field. Will it be Granny or will it be Granny? Actually, both of them coming in with their Red Riding Hood skins. Overtime ticks away, and somehow, some way, we are in a battle for the absolute finish. It is coming down to the wire as both of these teams get taken to their absolute limits.
Hearts are pumping, comms are on fire, everything is going nuts in every sort of aspect, and Quokka Queens trying to push it. They have 2 minutes now to try and get over to point B, and from there, it's just one fight win to get to point C. We'll see if they're able to make it. They do have this Dragon Strike online, but Paradise Lost already setting up very early, and that's a massive dynamite coming out from Wash.
That is true. Gonna get some ult charge there, but Madsen still in the lead for now. The rotation to the high side works well. As we see the Dragon Strike go to the high ground, will the hold be enough, though, for them to be able to sustain? We see the Storm Arrow still out for Vix, not able to find the elimination that they were looking for. Trades come in. Losh able to find Madsen, finds Vix. The DPS are down. A minute 30 remains on the clock. Ira popping out the Valkyrie to help the rest of Paradise Lost sustain. They will give up about half of the territory, but lock it down at the bridge choke.
Absolutely, Paradise Lost. They now have a sort of hold here with 1 minute left on the time bank here for Quokka Queens. Quokka are coming up on some very impactful ults as well, so we'll see. They have to really position themselves in a good way. The Dragon of Neo could easily end this push immediately. The Bob of Lost, the Drum of Azukari, all of these are fight energy. And if Quokka is going to win this, they have to sustain through every single one of them!
No! Monarch didn't have the immortality placed in time and is the caster curse of the century. Well, probably not the century. There's probably many worse ones, but it's a bad one. As we head into final fight territory once again, thankfully, they didn't use too many ultimates. They've still got a couple on board. Navino swapping over to the Monkey. And Monarch onto the Ana. I don't know if that's going to be the choice here. They're just desperate. They need to close this gap.
They switch over to the dive composition. They realize, hey, this is a spam comp. If we just want to dive into it, there's a chance we could do this, but it's going to be difficult. That drum used early here from Azikari, and the dive comes in here from the side of
no! The Dark Horse is riding its way to the finish line. Overtime is ticking away, and Losh has shown once again that their Bob is stronger. Paradise Lost, upsetting the Queen, Season 6 champions, defeated, and will move on to face Reminiscence in the finals of the Discord tier.
Paradise Lost try to get revenge on Reminiscence for the knockout stages when Reminiscence swept them 3-0. They want revenge, they want it now, and they were hungry tonight, Jack. In the end of the day, Paradise Lost take down the reigning champions, the Quokka Queens, and will go on to the Discord tier Grand Finals next week. This was such an intense match all around, but in the end, Paradise Lost trying to get themselves another victory in pockets.
That's absolutely true, Bowsy, and Quokka Queens, do not be disappointed in yourselves. You took it to the absolute limit tonight, and once you go 7 maps in, there's no telling the massive amount of things that could be impacting you, right? There's no way to tell whether it be, stress IRL, work, just regular tiredness in general. When you are sitting here concentrated for now 3.5 hours, 3.5 hours, folks, that is so draining on anyone. And Paradise Lost just barely able to edge it out here in the end with some perfectly timed ultimates. I don't know what else to say here, Bowsy. They put everything on the table, but there's still one last match to be had. Reminiscence versus Paradise Lost. Give me your player of the match real quick, Bowsy, because it has been a long night.
I'm hoping you'll pick the other person that I'm thinking of for player of the match, but I have to give my player of the match to Losh. Losh has done an amazing job all around this match. The Pharah, the Ash, any sort of hero he picked up, he was able to make use of to the absolute max extent. What an amazing job by Losh tonight. He has definitely earned my player of the match for his amazing DPS performance throughout the entire series.
That's absolutely true, and I don't know if you're wanting me to double down and pick a Neo, but that's not my style. But there is another money maker in this entire thing, and that's culture. Oh my goodness. The wrecking ball play was insane. Even when they were getting stunned into oblivion, was still making it out successfully 8 times out of 10 and able to fight another day. It was just insane. The absolute breadth and depth of the skill that this tank player has, and I cannot wait to see how that looks against Reminiscence next week. We want to remind you folks, be sure to be hitting that heart and punching that bell. You do not want to miss next week's match as we start on Tuesday with the Harmony tier finals, moving into Wednesday with the Transcendence tier finals, and ending the week on Thursday with the Discord tier finals. It is going to be a week packed to the brim with matches, hopefully just like this one, so you do not want to miss that action. Hit that heart, punch that bell, subscribe if you can. And Bowsy, do you got anything else before we sign off for the evening?
This has just been an amazing match, and I'm honestly thrilled that I got to cast it with you, Jack. Honestly, like I don't think any match is going to top this one that I watched today with you. This was just an absolute stellar match, and everyone on every team did a great job. Quokka Queens may be eliminated, but they still did an amazing job in the end. Unfortunately, Paradise Lost will be seeing in the finals next week.
Well, you gotta hand it to Destiny there, Bowsy. It had to be the double play-by-play diff tonight because This was just so intense. We just needed that extra little bit. Otherwise, I'd probably be passed out in my chair right now. But nevertheless, thank you, Bowsy, for filling in last minute. Glad to have you here with me. And of course, to our amazing producer and director of our Twitch team, Booth, for holding it in. I know he said not to go long, but I gotta get that thank you in every time. He does so much work behind the scenes, blow up that chat. Next week is the finals. The week after that is All-Stars. I mean, I wouldn't say it's not as exciting, but man, it's still fun to be watching.
I mean, to be fair, both of the All-Star candidates from Paradise Lost were our players of the match, Lost and Culture. So it's going to be a fun show after what we saw today.
You're absolutely true, and we will be seeing some of the Quokka crew coming back as well. Rocket, Mattson, and Navino, all All-Stars as well for the Discord tier. So again, heart, bell, subscribe. Make sure to tune in, and until next week, we'll see you on the other side.